Welcome. Hello, hello. Frantically clicking 13 different buttons. Good evening. How are you all doing? Hope you're good. Welcome.
It is Sunday.
Keep putting on binary. It is Sunday, which means it's the end of the week. Again, already. Weekend is almost over. But with the weekend almost over, it's almost time for the next weekend. Which means Splatoon 3. I mean, what? Good evening, everyone. I hope you're good. Oh, man. We are once again back with Hermitage. And I am not finding a comfortable position to sitting in my chair today. There we go. We're back with Hermitage, which I'm probably still pronouncing horribly wrong, but I have decided that it's called Hermitage with a weird zh sound. We were in the middle of chapter 3 last time. I don't know why I got it confused, but we were in the middle of chapter 3, so I'm hoping to finish that one today. We found out that our newest possibly companion was taken to some kind of facility and quite possibly injected with some weird thing that is turning him into a fish person. Now, he still seems to be normal in the sense that he only now has gills, how do you say it? But he's still running around like a normal guy, still breathing normally, but his friend doesn't look so good. So we're gonna try and break into the facility again. I say facility, it's just a rundown building. We're going to break into the rundown building, hopefully not alert literally everyone who works there, quite possibly get the dude out and solve our current case. But I don't know, I high-key doubt we're gonna get the other guy out of there. I don't know. I'd already be happy if, like, our whole team that we are right now makes it out of there alive. But we'll see about it. It is Thursday. Well, that's not true. That's not true. It is not Thursday, but we're just gonna pretend it is Thursday for the sake of the game. Night is falling. There's a warm and calming evening breeze, but it's hard for the three of them to relax right now. Nervousness lies in the air. Cecile stares at the narrow back entrance of the Sanjun building. It's an intimidating sight for sure, and one that makes it hard for her to gather the necessary courage. She still hasn't changed her outfit, a fact that could prove to be quite advantageous. People won't get suspicious of her too easily. Phoenix High students enjoy a good reputation, so even if she's out late, most people won't bat an eye. Appearances, along with the right arguments, can open many doors, something Cecile has learned from watching Scarlet, the master of trickery, work her magic. Oh, right. That's a thing, isn't it? Because they're running around in the school uniform, students are not allowed to be out and about for too long. Mostly it's like, oh, you go to school until, I don't know how long their schools go, 3 p.m., 5 p.m. or something, and then you go straight home. You're not supposed to be spending like the afternoon or the early evening out and about. Or if you do that, at least don't do it in uniform or something. Sure, there's always a risk factor involved, but right now Cecile and Nico probably have the safest roles to play. 30 minutes ago, Nico sabotaged the control network responsible for the water infrastructure. By causing a small power outage, he has effectively cut off the building's water supply for the time being. Within 5 minutes, an anxious and impatient complaint call was made inside the building. Nico easily intercepted it, transferring it to Cecile shortly after. Before long, fake maintenance workers were dispatched. Good morning, citizen. We're on the lookout for a bunny. They've stolen several tons of candy from a container near the docks. Hey, that's right, Doc. Good evening. How are you doing? Although the call could pass for a regular complaint about an outage, the person placing the call was audibly anxious. This is a golden opportunity. Let's just hope nothing unexpected comes up. Nothing unexpected in my mystery visual novel. Everything has been going according to plan up until now. Still, Cecile can't help but worry about the other safety once they head inside as maintenance workers. Country taste and all other floors up to the 4th floor being supplied by the same water company. Pipes were customized specifically adjusted over a period of 3 months. One of the demanded specifications struck me as particularly interesting. They required the range pipes to be sufficiently salt resistant on the grounds that fish and other seafood produce wastewater with a really high salt content. I forgot to change my voice. A regular restaurant would not have to have high of a demand on a daily basis, and even establishments 3 times their size won't ask for this kind of drainage modification. It's the first time I've even heard of something like this. So the demand on the basis of seafood wastewater is just a cover and they require it for other reasons. I've got an idea, one that we can use to safely enter the building under false pretenses. Nico's intel suggests that the corridors inside are extremely tight with windows that are never opened. This, along with the lack of proper air conditioning, makes it a perfect spot for placing a device to generate smoke. Second, Justin need to find a way to quickly get rid of, or at least lose the people escorting them inside. Afterwards, they'll need to split up and set up the smoke devices that Nico prepared previously, strategically placing them in a way that will quickly fill the corridors with an overwhelming amount of smoke. Nico didn't accompany Cecile, having set herself up in an adjacent building, instead to observe the footage from the cameras Cecile planted in the surveillance room. This whole approach is similar to the one she and Justin previously employed, and it allows her to quickly alert everyone by phone should she spot any sudden changes on the cameras. Although it's a good plan in theory, it doesn't reduce the danger Zack and Justin might have to face. Here goes nothing. You know what I still don't understand? After, she joined our gang in the first chapter and she fought against that weird silkworm. Sure, her glasses were broken, but you're telling me she doesn't actually need them? She has not gotten them replaced? Her eyesight is not actually that bad? She just had the glasses for fun? Why does she not have the glasses anymore? She has a hole in her hand and suddenly she can see? I don't know if that really works. Cecile hides in the shadows and quietly recites a small prayer for the safety of her friends. Ooh. That's all you've got? Seems unresponsive. Justin kicks the limp body lying in front of him casually. The waiter is lying on the ground, completely motionless. His face looks cramped and rigid, with strong, overly defined facial muscles swelling up underneath the skin. Him being unconscious makes it look even more bizarre. Justin can't help but think that it makes sense for such ugly things to hide themselves away in the shadows, far from the public's prying eyes. Something or someone has definitely changed these people. What exactly is going on here? Nobody with an ounce of entrepreneurial sense would hire someone like that as a waiter. That alone is proof enough that this guy can always have looked like that. Now is not the right time to think about it though. There are much more pressing matters at hand that need to be taken care of swiftly. The store manager sure has some effective drugs. Haven't seen anything work that well before. I think it's some kind of tranquilizer laced with small amounts of lilac grass. It smells strongly of alcohol. What do you guys usually use? Triazolem? Huh? What's that? I don't understand those pharma terms. I expected too much from you, my fault. That's sweet of you. Here, tie this up. Thanks. I genuinely cannot tell. Justin definitely is older than Zack, but how much? I wonder how much. Zack faces Justin and shakes his sore arm. Handling someone who weighs so much more than you isn't easy. Still, this is only the beginning of the mission. Justin looks at the device tied to Zack's waist as he pulls out one of his own from his pocket. It looks like a regular oxygen inhalation device, but the extra tubes haphazardly bound to it with duct tape and the strangely colored liquid inside don't exactly look inviting. There's no sugarcoating it. This thing is a dirty bomb, right down to the improvised fuse. Justin decides to tuck it away again and hide it until the time comes to actually use it. Built some awesome goodies for you. Pulling on the fuse will cause a reaction in the tubes, generating gas that'll fill up the bottles. The interaction when they mix will generate heat, a catalyst to speed up the process. It's genius work, trust me. As soon as the pressure reaches a certain level, the solution inside will begin to react and create massive amounts of smoke at a rate you can't even imagine. More than enough to keep the people inside from finding their way out. Also, a little bonus by yours truly, the gas is tear-inducing. I remember hearing that those weirdos inside have huge eyes, so that should definitely come in handy. It's that strong? How'd you come up with it? I guess it could be considered just a little overkill. I found the instructions on some shady foreign site. If the mixture is off even the tiniest bit, there'll be a pretty huge chemical explosion instead of just smoke. See, hearing stuff like that reminds me of why I always failed my chemistry classes. No sane person would ever think of handling something this dangerous. Well, I guess you're not a sane person, because you're going to handle this thing. Sane? Of course, what I really meant to say was that it always depends on the person, obviously. That's a textbook definition of a really bad save right there. Anyway, I'd never usually consider using something this dangerous, but the situation calls for it. Did you have to go through a lot of trouble to make them? No, at least not in comparison to what you're about to do. You're the ones facing the real trouble. Huh? Do you know why May, the store manager, sent Cecile away before giving these to you? If she knew what this was, she would have never agreed to any of this. It's highly volatile in the wrong hands. Say, for example, in those of hot-handed young idiots who lack self-control. Ouch. I have feelings too, you know. Anyway, although the amount of smoke it produces is absolutely ridiculous, there's one major weakness. It doesn't emit smoke right from the get-go. There's a built-in timer. The first mixing reaction needs to be autonomously heated for 120 seconds to provide enough pressure. Any faster than that would result in the next thing being a straight-up explosion, but if it's too slow, the catalyst for the second reaction would be powerful enough. Before you pull the fuse, you've got nothing to worry about. Play volleyball with it for all I care. But as soon as you start mixing them together, avoid any bouncing, tossing, shaking, wobbling, whatever for 120 seconds. Or you're gonna have fireworks going off right in your face. So, putting them down somewhere, waiting for 2 minutes, and then leaving? Meaning we have to effect in 2 minutes before we want to smoke out the place? Sadly, there was no other way. Nothing else is as effective and small enough for you to carry in covertly, so you have to work with it. I realize it might be difficult, but you have to find a way to protect it and hold out for 2 minutes. 2 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, does it? But suddenly it seems a lot longer to me than it should. I don't know, still better than 2 hours, so whatever. It's with this sudden optimism, it's weird. Well, nervousness is really the only thing that could mess things up for us, and I've kinda learned my lesson these last 2 days, you know? Makes sense, I guess. Make sure to stay alert. Justin checks his surroundings and peeks through the door of the water room. The water room is the only place nobody would check. The corridor is empty and silent, no sign of life at all. Yo, Justy? I can't have you calling me that. That's reserved for girls and grandparents. What is it? For girls and grandparents? Really? Justy? Heart to heart, bro. Heart to heart, bro. Why do you do this? Why are you so hell-bent on getting involved, you and the others? Ah, screw it. None of my business. You don't want to talk about it? Cool by me. It's not that. It's just hard to find the right words. The store manager told me about Cecile and what she went through. Her torment and how she almost fell victim to an otherworldly malicious creature. The things Cecile saw and experienced made it clear to her that more trouble would follow. She also seems to care about you, so her involvement in this doesn't come as a surprise. The girl, even though I haven't seen her in 2 years. That's sweet. I'll leave that to you to figure out. I couldn't possibly understand how your mind works. Anyway, it's a similar case with Nico. She and the store manager share a lot of history, and from what I know, she's been through a lot. She knows the stakes, that's why she's worried and wants to help. Sounds like heavy stuff, huh? I get why there's no time for details right now, but I have to ask the others about it once we're all back at the store again. They've had it rough, trying to save others just as much as they're trying to save themselves. So what about you? Aren't you in the same boat as them? I am now, but you're right. I do have my own reasons that drive me. Personal ones that I wouldn't expect you to understand. Is that so? Zach's expression becomes uncertain. It's a bad idea to dwell on the topic any further, not right before such a crucial moment. Just know that right now those guys are the best to have in your corner. I trust them with my life, so do you want to do this or wait around some more? Alright then, let's go. Got a packed schedule tonight. We sure do. Let's make the best of it. Forcing himself not to look back, Justin pushes open the door alongside Zach and steps into the dark, quiet corridor. Darkness stretches out in front of him with only a faint overhead light illuminating the hallway. Zach's mind flashes back to what happened yesterday. In crucial moments like this, it's smart to try and suppress your own thoughts and fears as best as you can. Sadly, it's never that easy. Yo, Nico? Justin? The connection immediately cuts out upon entering the corridor, way too foreboding for Zach's taste. There's no other way of establishing contact. Zach pinches himself to regain his focus and to rid himself of some of the worries that are plaguing him right now. Maybe there's someone or something waiting in the dark, maybe there isn't. No matter what, being prepared is of the utmost importance. Zack knows exactly what he's doing and what he came here for. Click. Just like that, the door to the twisted maze of unknown horrors opens. Oh! Oh! Oh god. Okay. Take the door facing to the west side. Okay, and how do I move? Oh god. The door is closed, but there's a small set of keys by the door handle. He inspects the room again. The interior has been restored and all the furniture has been moved back to its original position, as if yesterday's fight never happened. You can do it, Nui! You have enemy time on your side! I do, yeah. As long as I'm not actively moving, there's no actual countdown or timer happening, so we can think about it slowly. Zack is frustrated, but at the same time he realizes that finding Fatty in this room might not actually have been a good thing. Zack takes a keychain by the door. 2 keys are attached to the slightly rusty metal ring. The detector's along, it might come in handy. Okay, and now go back to that lower door, I think. Because this one is like locked, right? This one. This seems to be the right place. Zack inserts the key found and opens the door. Justin is lucky enough not to have run into anybody along the way. He has spotted a few cameras while sneaking about, but luckily they are being controlled by a childish master hacker. By now, his trust in Nico has reached immeasurable heights. It's almost too quiet here. A strange silence is covering his surroundings, and even the echo of his footsteps sounds unusually dull. Justin suspects that the entire floor is insulated, but he has no way of confirming that right now. In any case, the plan remains the same. Justin walks on and carefully runs his hand along the wall to maintain a sense of direction. Aha! The small little chibi icon, that's so cute. Okay. Okay, well, you have 3 doors. So let's just start with the first door, I guess. It's locked. The door is absolutely massive, and Justin has never seen a keyhole shaped like that before. He tries to probe the lock with his wire, but he can't feel anything. As he takes a closer look at the keyhole, he can see a lot of dust gathered around it. He puts some on his finger and analyzes it carefully. It's dust from wall plaster like the one around this room. How come there's so much of it in a keyhole? There really shouldn't be. Since he's dealing with shady people, he realizes they might have something to hide. Oh, what? Really? The key could be hidden in a nearby wall. Without the matching key, there's no way to open this door no matter what. Okay. Let's see about the other door then. It's locked. The key is stuck in a keyhole, but Justin can't move the handle. He violently jerks the key back and forth a couple of times. It doesn't seem to fit right. Looks like somebody got the wrong key, but why? Puzzled, Justin takes out the key and puts it in his pocket. There has to be a key that actually fits. Okay, and what is this? Is this a door down here? As soon as I actually manage to put my cursor on the move south. Huh? This wall seems to be made from a different material. Oh, I thought it was a door. It's just... okay. Something's hidden here. Justin slides his hand along the wall and finds a slightly elevated rough edge. It's a relatively simple secret compartment underneath a piece of wood covered in wall plaster. From the shape of it, it's made to conceal longer objects. There's no such thing inside though. Instead, there's a small key in an old notebook that, by the looks of it, must be pretty old. Yeah, an old notebook that must be pretty old. Okay. There isn't enough time to read it now. Justin takes the old notebook as well as the key with him. Okay. then let's start with the... Listen, I can only use... I'm just gonna use the mouse, that's easier. Okay, let's open this one with the key. This seems to be the right one. The key from the hidden compartment fits perfectly. Justin pushes open the door and enters the room. Justin searches the room's north inside and finds nothing. Okay. There's another key in the cupboard. Justin takes out the key he has in his pocket and compares the two shapes. They probably use the same lock cylinder configuration, but are clearly of a different make. Time to go back and have a look. Okay, anything down here? Nothing. 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 Okay. Let's try the other door then. Seems to be the right one. The key from the hidden compartment fits perfectly. Justin pushes open the door and enters the room. After entering the room, Justin instantly notices how cramped and tight everything is. This room appears to be much smaller than the other one. Judging by the design, this one should be bigger. Wait, is it? There's nothing there. Oh my god, don't do that. No. I know it's small! Let me check out all the options, game! As he expects, a small door is embedded in the wall on the eastern side of the room. Like the paint on the wall, it appears to be much newer than everything else around it. They've separated this room from the others, but why? Justin is mystified, but the investigation has to continue. He takes out the last key he hasn't used so far and slides it into the keyhole. Smooth as silk. Justin gently pushes open the door and heads further into the dark unknown. Another room with something going on inside. An unexpected turn of events. Justin is taken by surprise, but luck is on his side. There's only one person who is asleep by the door. Justin slowly and carefully sneaks up to him and immediately notices the unusually ugly and deformed face. The outline of his body looks off, with only bizarre non-human contours visible in the dark. His features are distorted, with every facial muscle much more dominant than in a regular human. His eyes are bulging as if trying to escape their sockets, and upon closer inspection, Justin notices a pair of fish gills undulating beneath the man's ears. You know, to be fair, on the actual sprite of this person, they look way more like a fish than just, oh, you know, a little. But this hybrid of fish and man is somehow not as strange as a sight as fantasy literature would have you believe. Quite on the contrary, the combination actually looks weirdly harmonious. How can that be? This revelation only unnerves Justin even more. Such crude, abnormal hybrids and combinations of things that aren't meant to be mixed can easily provoke fear or make one aware of one's own physical inferiority. These feelings, however, pose no problem for Justin, who has learned from past experiences not to let something like that get to him. There's something similar on Zack's neck, and Justin can only hope that the white marks are really evidence that the change has been reversed without any further consequences. Justin reaches into his pocket and pulls out a tranquilizing mixture that the store manager prepared for him. He holds it close to the dozing fishman's nose and watches as the smoke slowly rises up and seeps into his nostrils. The snoring grows louder. The fishman's breathing becomes deeper and more intense. His large body's need for air is immense. A law of nature, even his strange deformities won't change. Justin covertly walks up to the window and pulls open the curtain on one side. A residual ray of the setting sun shoots straight into his eyes, an unexpected and dizzying shock for his senses in an otherwise almost pitch black environment. A soft breeze from the air vent above him blows through Justin's hair, unconsciously causing him to relax. Justin gives a quiet and relieved sigh, feeling as if luck is finally on his side for once. Shortly thereafter, he pulls out a smoke bomb and prepares it carefully. Alright, that's done. Uh-oh. Who are you? Oh crap. What Zack sees after opening the door makes him gasp and shudder for a moment. At first glance, it looks like an actual hospital. Countless beds are neatly arranged next to one another, with the white sheets shining particularly brightly in the dim moonlight, making the whole thing even more creepy. Wait, can I? I keep forgetting to, get some screenshots for myself. IV bottles are dangling from the side of each bed. The liquid inside of them has a strange color, although barely visible in the dark. The sheets on the beds are bulging, and it's not hard to imagine what's hidden underneath. The smell of salt dies in the air, and Zack's stomach churns at the realization of what the custom pipe modifications in the building were required for. Even though he's had it hard in life, he can't help but think that all these people lying here are so much more unfortunate than him. Zack quietly walks past the hospital beds, the heavy breathing of the patients audible all around him. Their skin has a sickly, moist sheen and almost seems to be dissolving. As the liquid drips and courses through an unconscious man's body, Zack starts panicking a little, bothered by the fact that what he is witnessing right now are many lives about to end forever. He's reminded of Fatty. These people are clearly undergoing some sort of transformation, gradually being turned into something non-human. The crowded tight space, in addition to the darkness, makes the room stretch out to what feels like infinite dimensions. He can't see where the room ends, and he can't stop thinking what life will be like for these people once the procedure is finished. Zack was confident that if Justin's endeavor turned out to be a success, he could sneak Fatty out of the building under the cover of the smoke. However, seeing all these people here and the sheer number of them, his optimism in the mission is shattered. To save one or all, proceed as planned, or face the unknown and all the consequences that come with it. It's hard for Zack to think about that. Either way, lives are at stake. To hell with it. If you go down, we go down together. Zack doesn't want any lives on his conscience, a thought that drives him forward. A small-time thug who's not even sure how the hell he managed to survive himself so far. How could he possibly know how to reverse these transformations? If these people could be freed, where could they hide? Zack's mind is racing and he isn't coming up with any answers. The one thing he knows is that once everything is covered in smoke and the firefighters arrive, he won't be leaving this place by himself, that's for sure. The tear gas effect of the smoke might cause problems later on, but ultimately it won't matter if the gang members are knocked out or discovered by the firefighters. Both outcomes will have the same results. There's no clear answer to this. Some things can be pulled off and some can't, even if you do your best. It's that simple. Zack inhales deeply and opens the window on one side. The cold wind dries the sweat covering his face. He's already convinced he regrets his decision. A life of mistakes has taught him that, and he knows he's diving straight into the unknown, headed for an uncertain future. However, he's also fully aware of what he's doing. Sorry guys, but this is me. This is what I'm good at. Taking one last deep breath, he starts banging loudly against the door. Yo everyone, wake the hell up! You hear me? Wake up! The real adventure is only just starting. Holy shit, what does that fool think he's doing? The sounds coming from above pull Justin up short. This isn't part of the plan. Justin can hear Zack shouting in the distance. They're right in the middle of a hornet's nest. What does he think he's doing, drawing so much attention to himself? The only plausible explanation Justin can come up with is that Zack has finally lost his mind. Hey, what's up with him? He's blocked the east entrance with a hospital bed and is piling up boxes on the other side. Everyone's gotten up from their beds by now. Many have vanished and a few are helping Zack move things. He hasn't deployed the smoke bomb yet, but hell, I'm too far away to clearly make out what's going on. What is that idiot doing? Is he trying to make himself available for target practice or what? Although the decision is undoubtedly stupid, Justin is starting to understand Zack's reason. With the corridors and passages throughout the building being as tight and narrow as they are, you have to make sure to keep the path clear in case of an evacuation. Sealing off and controlling an intersection means you can prevent people from escaping without a lot of effort. That being the case, it will be best for Zack to be the one in control. He could take care of all the bad guys and then safely get out once the smoke dissipates. Which is why he needs to attract as much attention as possible. It's a surefire recipe for chaos, that much is clear. Saving so many people at once is only possible if the enemies are scattered and their positions disrupted. It's pretty typical for Zack. Nobody else at Hermitage would have ever come up with a plan this reckless, and even if, it would have been discarded quickly for being way too dangerous. All of this might even help Justin complete his task. With nobody here to interrupt him, smoke is already spreading throughout the room. Everything is working as intended, just as Nico promised. The sheer amount of smoke is a clear indication that something big is about to go down. If there ever was one last chance to abort and withdraw, this is it, but Justin has no intention of quitting. Nico, how many of them are out there? What can I expect? 3 guys and a couple of the big ugly ones, coming from downstairs on the west side. I can tell you much more, I don't know what else is going on inside. Roger that. East it is then. Hold it right there, smartest. Where do you think you're going? East is the other way. Yeah, I know. You guys are simply... you know what? I don't care. Whether you come out or not, I'm going to have Cecile call 911 eventually. There's no way around it. It's better to be caught alive than to be found dead. I don't think the firefighter number in China is 911. It's similar enough, sure, but I don't think it's 911. I know, it's fine. Justin shrugs upon realizing that Nico must have hung up, then he ventures further down into the shadows of the hallway. Alright, now to find a way to push on further. Zack wipes some sweat off his forehead. The situation is still under control, with the east entrance tightly blocked off. The heavy bats used as an improvised blockade are holding up nicely under the pounding and pushing coming from the other side of the door. Amidst the knocking, occasional curses and swears can be heard, but luckily it takes more than foul language to break through a barrier this robust. Zack only hears one voice beyond the door, so the other knocks and pushes might be coming from more of those hybrid creatures. They may or may not have been brainwashed, but it doesn't really matter at the moment. The only thing for certain is that they're posing a great threat. They can just keep at it. Even Zack has known from the very beginning that this one door probably won't be able to keep them out forever. Zack is some of the victims who've been experimented on to thank for how robust this impromptu barrier has turned out. Shortly after waking them up, they quickly helped Zack erect the barrier, moving about the heavy hospital beds. They have been caught in an unfortunate predicament, true, but in this case, at least their physical superiority has come in handy, allowing things to be moved that Zack could never have pushed into place on his own. More and more of them are waking up every second, many rattled awake by their fellow companions. The smoke Justin has created below only accelerates the process. Even though only a fraction of it has made its way through the air vents so far, the smoke is causing many who just woke up to cover their mouths and wave their arms in an attempt to disperse it. Their moist skin seems to be particularly sensitive to the chemicals, as many of them can barely keep their eyes open and are breathing heavily, wheezing with discomfort. Even under such circumstances, these people are listening to Zack's orders and holding their positions. Okay. God, I hate living in the middle of a city sometimes. Anyway, holding their positions, fiercely pushing to keep the doors closed off. Zack is inspired by the will to survive and grateful for their assistance, yet he can't help but notice that his poor fatty is nowhere to be seen. Maybe Justin has already found him. With no way to get in contact with Justin, Zack is hoping for the best. You better be out there somewhere. Be smart, fatty. It's a good... I don't know where he is. I mean, Justin met him, because Fatty has a different sprite than the other characters. The other fish people, but... Worrying about that now is useless, especially with more pressing matters at hand. There's increased commotion on the east side, with more footsteps quickly approaching. 4 of them. 4 men to be precise. On the east side, the regular footsteps are intermingled with the nasty sounds of heavy, sticky footsteps. Must be around 3 of those things. The wall is also being hit with a metal object, most likely some sort of steel rod or knife. Things could be worse, but really not a whole lot. They're here. Zack and his newly found companions clench their fists in anticipation. The tension reaches new heights. They really are still human. Zack feels a lot better about his decision and himself. The sound of bodies tackling the doors rings out from both sides at the same time, but Zack knows the situation on the other side is under control. The door on the west side hasn't been fully blocked. Instead, they deliberately left just enough space for the intruders to break through. He's already pulled the fuse of the smoke bomb. In just 2 minutes, everything will start filling up with smoke, causing a big enough commotion to enable an escape from the building. The alerted enemies have to be cleared. The activated smoke bomb has to be protected at all costs. It's a pretty bold plan, and in order to get everyone out of here safely, Zack has to win a lot of time and delay the enemies. It won't be easy. Zack and the people trapped with him who are in a good physical condition hide in a small corner of the room next to the west entrance. It's a strategy he picked up in street fights. There are always spots where the enemy will look last when rushing into a room well fueled with adrenaline. Break the line of sight and attack from the back in an unexpected moment, that's Zack's plan. Many of the people who woke up have completely exhausted themselves already, leaving Zack with just 2 companions who still have enough energy left to fight. Every forceful push and knock against the door makes it clear to Zack how much stronger the enemies are physically. This isn't a fair fight, and one that can only be won by employing cheap and dirty tricks. Good thing he knows a thing or two about that. He would have liked to be better prepared, but things are the way they are. They have to make do with what they've got. Just as Zack expected, the blockade gives way under the repeated impacts. The door slams open violently. One of the cabinets flies through the air with such force that it almost hits Zack, who is lying in wait for an ambush. He takes a good look at the enemies, even though deep down in his heart he's afraid of what he might see. They seem to have evolved even further. They are not like the ones who helped him. They're ugly, twisted, primitive, and are exuding a vile aura of evil beyond anything words can describe. And also, one guy with sunglasses, apparently. 4 of them rush into the room. Only one of them is about the same size as Zack. The others are much taller, stronger, and can barely be considered human anymore. In an open fight, Zack and his 2 remaining companions would most likely draw the short straw. Still, Zack keeps a clear head and reminds himself of his objective. He firmly plants his feet on the ground and pounces forward to attack. Oh. Okay, biggest, smallest, or the opponent... the opponent last in line, because he's the closest, or the one... Smallest first. Let's go for smallest first. Zack chooses to focus on the smallest target. Even with his 2 strong companions by his side, Zack knows this is not a fight that can be finished quickly. The smartest choice would be to reduce the enemy's numbers quickly in order to reduce the overall combat strain. Zack swings a makeshift iron crowbar made from one of the IV racks at the back of the creature's head. The swing doesn't connect. Oh shit. The creature seems startled by the attack that missed merely by a few inches. It shifts its shoulder and knocks away Zack's right hand. To help! Immediately following Zack's attack, his 2 companions go on the offensive as well. They rush towards the tallest and largest enemy in an attempt to keep the group at bay. The attack is a success. Although the large creature manages to shake off one of Zack's companions, the combined force of the attack causes the creature to lose its footing. Zack's other companion instantly sees an opening and takes advantage of the situation. The 2 heavy bodies fall to the ground with a loud thud and twist up into a ball, violently entangled in a fight. Oh. Okay. Okay. After being taken by surprise, the enemies are now more focused and aware. The battle is far from over. The enemies have analyzed the situation and the tide is turning against Zack. The enemies are on high alert and more agile than expected. Zack is unsure if he can move around them and escape their watchful eyes. Shit, it's Jeremy! Long time no see, asshole! The other enemies have collected themselves and gotten back up. Jeremy and Zack both exclaim at the exact same time upon realizing who's standing in front of them. Oh! It's supposed to be a J? I was wondering, like, why is it A, B, C, and then... I don't know, some kind of... It's not really a surprise. Zack has already been expecting this deep down. If anything, this only serves as final confirmation. Jeremy seems furious. His whole face is contorted by his angry expression as he spits on the ground. Who? Just a fool who won't learn his lesson? What the hell are you doing here? Take a wild guess, idiot. Screw you. There's no time for nonsense. The 3 enemies have sneakily split off from the group and are now surrounding Zack and his companions. The brawl on the ground is still going. It's 3 against 2 at the moment. Zack bites his lip and tries to think about his next move. He has to find a way out of the corner, but first he has to deal with the current onslaught of enemies. Accompanied by 2 accomplices, Jeremy seems intent on making it as hard as possible for Zack. One of the creatures stands right by his side, its empty, cold eyes staring dead ahead at Zack. Another opponent tries to intervene in the tussle on the ground, but Zack's other companion steps in and does his best to hold the line. So this is what it's come to. The current stalemate won't hold for long, so Zack doesn't have a lot of time to plan and prepare. At last, he decides to focus on defending against the medium-sized monster B. Zack turns his body sideways towards the medium-sized monster, anticipating its attacks and looking for possible counter opportunities. The enemies are moving quickly. Focusing on the strength in numbers, Jeremy and one of his accomplices are swiftly moving towards Zack, trying to corner him. Punch! It all happens in a blink of an eye. Zack barely registers the faint shadow moving at high speed. Luckily, his head is protected, leaving no weak spots exposed. The only right decision without a doubt. Although sharp pain is running through Zack's arm, he manages to deflect and bear the brunt of the attack with sheer physical force and willpower. Things are only going to get worse from here. Small monsters caught in a fighting frenzy, unfocused on where it's aiming and swinging around wildly. What are you looking at? While Zack is distracted, Jeremy senses an opening. He runs up and tackles Zack into the wall. Oh shit. Despite having about the same level of physical strength, Zack is taken by surprise and overcome by the sheer ruthlessness of his enemy's attacks. Jeremy holds Zack up against the wall with an iron grip, grabbing him by the neck and shoulders. Zack is unable to move, and a few punches and kicks he manages to throw aren't enough to make Jeremy loosen his grip. However, Jeremy is so focused on his vicious attacks that he doesn't even realize he's standing in the way. Zack's strong companion dodges the monster's attack by stepping back, while throwing a punch at the same time. The punch itself doesn't cause a lot of damage, but its impact is enough to make the monster topple, allowing Zack's companion to reel back and position himself on top of the enemy. Because of the difference in size, the monster is unable to free itself. Through smart positioning and by using every available opportunity, the weaker side in this fight is still able to pin down the otherwise stronger one. It's a fierce struggle, and there's no telling how long they'll take before things might suddenly switch around. The monster thrashes around violently and hits the floor repeatedly. There's another fight going on where two bodies are still rolling around on the floor, each of them trying to gain the upper hand. Zack's young companion tries to choke the taller monster but is grabbed by the wrist. Neither one wants to show weakness and admit defeat. Oh, this is not good. Huh? A little over 40 seconds have passed. The struggle continues and the group war rages on. Zack is worried, for he knows exactly that as soon as there's a shift in the power struggle and an opening is created, the rest of the fight will be over in a matter of seconds. The enemy is overwhelmed by the attacks, which are fueled by the taste of possible victory. It can't keep up the resistance for long. Unable to catch a breath, its defense crumbles. At least, that vicious battle has been decided. Zack's companion barely manages to stand back up and is breathing heavily, while the monster's lying on the ground, unconscious and foaming around the mouth. Zack's companion is bloodied and bruised, but one of the enemies is down for good. Zack observes how the small monster takes several steps back, distancing itself from the messy group brawl. This is bad. It hurts a lot. The opponent uses an opening to its advantage and flexes its bulging muscles. As a consequence of a swift, hard kick, Zack's companion is unable to restrain the monster any longer as he's pushed away. The large monster gets up and catches its breath. There's an opportunity for it to get a few punches in, but it's still too exhausted from the previous struggle. The numbers are not Zack's side any longer. He has to avoid any further defeats if he wants to have a realistic chance at getting through this. Zack grinds his teeth, clenches his fist and rocks his body back and forth with all the momentum he can gather. Jeremy can't react in time to this unexpected, almost self-destructive behavior and plunges his fist directly into the hard wall. Going on an offense works out very well. Zack instantly seizes the opportunity and pushes his arms forward, thrusting Jeremy's hands aside. He firmly plants his feet on the wall, then launches himself at Jeremy with as much force as he can gather. As far as spatial awareness and actual fighting experience are concerned, Zack still has the upper hand. Jeremy jumps back to avoid Zack's powerful leap, which causes the two to switch positions. It's 3 versus 3. 1 minute has passed. Although the numbers have evened out, the situation still isn't looking too good. The good news is that the most powerful enemy is down, taking one of the biggest risk factors out of the equation. Zack's ambush has been successful so far. Intelligently maintaining control over the enemies and their position is of the utmost importance, especially when there's an obvious difference in strength. Both sides take a moment to regroup. Everybody's hurt, panting and checking themselves for injuries, with the fierce fire still burning in everyone's eyes. In a movie, the scene would have probably looked funny, but there's nothing to laugh about for anybody involved in this mess of a fight. Zack knows he can't expect him to suddenly back down. He might be a poor judge of character when it comes to social interactions, but in a fight he's really good at knowing what's going through his opponent's mind. They've lost their strongest fighter even though they had the upper hand. Jeremy's got to be nervous, but at the same time he probably knows that it's impossible for Zack's team to have another ambush lying in wait. All the cards on the table now. Zack can only hope for the best. They commence another attack. Having changed position, Jeremy's no longer going for Zack, but heads for Zack's young companion instead, who's still severely exhausted from his previous fight. The other two enemies step in and keep their eyes on Zack. One of them goes straight for Zack, while the other seems to focus on a weapon Zack is holding in his right hand. Zack decides to protect the young companion. In order to have a chance of turning the tide of the battle, Zack does what he can to protect his team. Zack gives up his better defended position and instead chooses to move to his young companion's side, ready to intercept Jeremy's attack. The small monster suddenly starts making strange noises and disappears off to the side, seemingly unsure about what it actually wants to do. Jeremy pulls out a short, shiny weapon. At first glance, it looks like a spring knife. A knife like that is particularly dangerous in close quarter fights, where its short range isn't an issue. It's still more than enough to cause vital injuries. Without saying a word, Jeremy steadily advances towards Zack, making his way through the crowd. What crowd? Okay. Zack knows exactly what Jeremy's thinking. Go straight for the leader, take him out, and it'll all be over. Jeremy lifts his arm up in an arc to slash downwards with as much speed as he can. Zack is prepared and anticipated Jeremy's move, so he manages to swing his weapon upward, hitting Jeremy before he can attack. There's a painful sensation in his wrist and it feels numb, but there's too much adrenaline rushing through him right now to care about that. The two monsters are rapidly advancing and already closing in on him. Zack twists and turns his body to go with the flow of the enemy's attack, adjusting his stance to counter. His enemy is too focused on one thing, disarming Zack. Unable to quickly adapt to the change in stance, it misses Zack and runs past him. The other opponent is much less focused, with no clear plan, only intent on causing damage by whatever means available. It uses its height to its advantage and smashes its fist down from above, scraping Zack's ear. Zack's strong companion wants to run up to help, but slips and falls in the process. Zack's shoulders are struck, pushing him down and twisting his body around. Zack's whole body feels numb, but he's completely weightless for a second. If the angle had been just a little different, Zack's neck would have snapped, and his head would have been rammed straight into his chest. The force of the impact is too strong, and Zack can't hold on to his weapon. It's flung through the air and rolls off to the side. Jeremy clearly seems to have lost in his confrontation with Zack's companion. He dropped his spring knife, which was kicked aside during the fight, which means Jeremy is now unarmed. Hell no. Jeremy's enraged and yells to vent his frustration. As he attempts to retrieve his knife, Zack's companion steps in and blocks his path. With the opponent standing right in front of him, Zack knows it's impossible for him to retrieve his weapon without exposing his back in the process. A mistake he'd rather not make. He assumes a defensive stance and retreats to a more open space in an attempt not to get cornered. The situation is growing more tense by the second, and both parties are being more careful in their approach. One wrong, rash decision could mean a sudden end to all of this. It's not over yet, and the situation is still delicate. What's your angle here, huh? What are you trying to pull, Zack? Jeremy's shouting his head bright red, both from blood and from his temper rising up. I don't like that he's now the closest to our smoke bomb, that's not good. Keeping the enemy talking is the right play at this point. There are no more advantages, no more opportunities for an ambush. With the fight being as out in the open as it is, it's best to delay as long as possible and hope for the smoke to go off. Zack tries to guess how much longer it'll take. A minute maybe? He then decides to stall them as long as possible. Idiot, you really think I tell you? Jeez, you really haven't had enough yet? And here was hoping a beatdown was enough to make you eat those smart words of yours. All this trouble, I'm just trying to make it easy for you. And don't think for 1 second I'm the least bit afraid of the cops showing up here, or anyone else for that matter. Is that so? Then how about you introduce them to your ugly fish buddies here? Sounds like a nice chance for some exposure. You might even make the newspapers. You didn't really call them, did you? How about you take a wild guess? Shit. More proof that Jeremy's still the same small-minded idiot he's always been. Zack can't help but smirk a little as he watches Jeremy spew a tirade of curses. It's a rough world. You can't let things get to you. Zack knows that by now. He's gotten at Jeremy's skin, giving him the psychological edge in his fight at the very least. While being angry would make Jeremy more likely to make foolish decisions, it would also make him a more unpredictable opponent. Is it smart to get him this worked up? As it turns out, it's not. You really think you can scare me? He lifts up his jacket slightly and pulls out a small black object with trembling fingers. Another knife, maybe. Zack squints and tries to make out the object, which is obscured by the dim light. Cold sweat runs down Zack's body. What the hell are you doing? A gun! Zack's instincts kick in, and for a second it feels as if his heart stands still. He leaps and rolls, trying to get to cover and out of Jeremy's sight. Driven by a primal survivalistic urge, he pulls off a jump most people would think was impossible. This is the first time he's ever seen a gun in real life. Say what you will about the city's law enforcement, but they're at least doing a good enough job to keep guns out of the hands of juvenile thugs. He has no idea how to deal with the situation. Which is why that small and deadly weapon is putting him under extreme pressure right now. By diving for cover and moving out of the way, Zack has unintentionally opened up the way to his two companions, fully exposing them. The two enemy monsters sense his opportunity and barge straight into them. Uh-oh. Assess the situation. Shit, damn it. Zack rolls and causes in frustration, not at Jeremy or anyone else, but at himself for putting everyone in danger. How about that, huh? Where's that loud mouth of yours now? Jeremy's provocations echo through the room. Carefully taking a look, Zack can see Jeremy clumsily loading the gun. From the looks of it, Jeremy doesn't have a lot of experience with firearms either. Up until now, the gun must have been empty, which would explain why Jeremy hasn't let off a single shot yet. Zack would have never expected anyone from his circles to be carrying a firearm. The risks and punishments are immense, and Jeremy might only have gotten his hands on it recently. Maybe he's reluctant to use it, seeing as there are all kinds of news reports of people badly hurting themselves through accidental discharges and improper handling. And honestly, Jeremy kind of fits the description of those people. The fact remains that a small but deadly weapon is now pointed at Zack and his two companions and could easily take a life within the blink of an eye. Oh man. The situation is unbelievably dangerous. There's no doubt about it, he is definitely going to shoot. The atrocities committed in this building are already horrible enough to land everyone involved in jail forever. Maybe that's what Jeremy is telling himself. One additional gun charge isn't going to make any difference. He's probably scared of the thought and panicking, and now he's directing all the fear of Zack to his gun. The small monster presses all his weight down on Zack's strong companion and starts choking him. The enemy clearly has the upper hand. Zack's strong companion presses around and aims for the enemy's arms to break the choke. Zack's young companion can stand his ground, but only temporarily. The numbers are even for now, but overall, it's nowhere close to being an even playing field. Zack grits his teeth in an attempt to maintain his composure and focus. Something has to be done right away, otherwise they're doomed. Justin is a smart guy who thinks ahead, so he might have already escaped the building. At least that's what Zack hopes. Either way, Zack has to make a decision, and he has to make it now. Save, charge, or maintain cover. We want to actually survive, so we're going to maintain our cover. Zack lifts up the hospital bed and positions it in front of himself. While with such a thin mattress, the bed isn't exactly the most optimal form of cover. Zack plans to avoid giving Jeremy a clear line of sight. With only a limited amount of bullets, Jeremy will have to pick his shots carefully, and as long as Zack remains hidden, he should be fairly safe. But, as it turns out, Jeremy's a lot dumber than Zack gave him credit for. The game volume is a tad bit high. I'm sorry. Is this better? Three shots ring through the air, but none of them hit Zack. Either the bed offers more protection than Zack assumed, or he's just in the right position at the right time. One bullet whizzes past Zack, so close that it barely misses his forehead. If you needed any more proof that Jeremy is that serious, this would be it. Right now the situation's a stalemate. I drowsy sometimes. Yeah, it's like sometimes you cannot hear the background music, and then when it's, you know, this specific song, I guess, it's so loud. What's the matter, huh? Just going out. 3 shots fired so far. Jeremy isn't out of bullets yet. Zack ducks down behind the bed and grips the railing so tightly that he almost scratches the paint off of it. Zack grabs a nearby pillow and slowly props it up so that it can be seen easily. Within seconds, the pillow has 2 gaping holes. Another 4 bullets, all of them way too close for comfort. What's the matter, tough guy? Just admit you're done and step out. Don't waste your breath on me. Make a move or don't, your choice. Playing the baddest until your very last moment, are you? Well then, you put this on yourself, so don't blame me. Go on and bring it. Zack waits, but no further shots hit the bed. Zack begins to tremble as he realizes what's happening. Hey. Jeremy flies directly at Zack's immobilized companion. Throughout all of this, Zack still could have never imagined that Jeremy would stoop so low. Even with a body much stronger than an average human's, it would be impossible to withstand shots at such a close range. Zack's companion hits the ground, twitching, and after a few painful seconds, stops moving altogether. Shit, get up! There's no response. Zack realizes how attached he's grown to these people even in such a short time. They're in this together, fighting the same fight. Zack never, even for 1 second, regrets having helped them. This makes seeing things play out this way even more horrible for him. Fear and anger wash over him in an almost paralyzing degree. Oh, Sweezy, how boring. And Jeremy kicks the corpse at his feet with no change of expression. While he himself is frozen on the spot, Zack can hear Jeremy's footsteps. He's walking towards Zack's remaining combatant. 7 shots fired in total. It's difficult to tell whether or not Jeremy has run out of bullets or not. He stopped fiddling his gun, but it could just be a ploy to draw Zack out. Making a move now would mean risking his life, but if he doesn't, Zack will be responsible for the death of another one of his companions. A million voices rage in Zack's mind like a storm, overlapping one another. All of them are telling him different things, often contradicting advice. Impulsive and reckless, and he never quite understood what people meant when they talked about dilemma. Now he understands. Hey, the 2 minutes are finally up. It all happens before anyone has a chance to react. Shit, what the hell? Smoke. Fire? No, it most certainly isn't a fire. Caught in a moment and immersed in the heat of battle, Zack lost track of time and completely forgot about what he actually came here to do. After 2 excruciatingly long minutes, the chemical reaction is now in full effect and the smoke is starting to develop. Upon witnessing how fast the smoke is spreading, Zack only now starts to realize how vitally important Nico's advice on treating the smoke bomb carefully has been. At this rate, it's not that different from an actual explosion. It's done. After this hellish 2-minute journey, it's time to cross the finish line. Smoke is filling up the whole room faster than the eye can see. At this rate, somebody from outside must have already seen it, and Zack wonders how long it would take them to alert the fire department. But right now, things happening outside are of no concern to him. Go check out! What's going on? Jeremy waves his arms and orders his 2 helpers to find out what's going on. Zack's young companion tries to use the situation to crawl to safety and get up, but Jeremy holds him at gunpoint. This is it, an opportunity. With more smoke building up by the second, Zack leaves his cover and quietly circles around towards Jeremy while holding his breath. You're done here. There's a hard impact. Zack puts everything he has into a fully powered punch directed at the back of Jeremy's head. Jeremy must have sensed something at the very last second. He turns his head to the side, causing Zack to hit him in the neck instead. The impact stuns Jeremy despite him having deflected it a little bit. Zack's young companion immediately analyzes the situation. He pushes Jeremy away and crawls towards the area where the smoke bomb is, attempting to stop Jeremy's 2 monstrous henchmen. That's all you got? Jeremy's still hurling insults at Zack even as he's brought down to one knee. Fully intent on breaking Zack's spirit once and for all, Jeremy turns around and aims at Zack's young companion in the distance, who's still crawling away. Zack is still unarmed and is too far away to react in time. He can't stop Jeremy from firing. Jeremy only has enough time to fire a single shot. It's only 1 shot, but that doesn't mean it can't cause devastating damage. A fine mist of blood is floating through the air around Zack's young companion, who is just a few steps short of reaching his goal. Oh shit. What an asshole. Losing all semblance of self-control, an enraged Zack rushes Jeremy and delivers a furious hook right to the jaw. This time Jeremy has no time to dodge. The blow to Jeremy's jaw is so vicious it almost feels as if it's going to pierce right through him. Zack can feel the strength draining from Jeremy's body as it drops to the ground. He got just what he deserves. The impact from Zack's hook is enough for his eyes to roll into the back of his head. Unable to handle the pain, he passes out. Strange grunting sounds are coming from the 2 monsters as they notice what's happening to Jeremy. They stop their search for the smoke bomb and make their way towards Zack. The monster ignores the flipped over bats and torn sheets as it makes its way through all the obstacles. Things are looking pretty grim for Zack right now. There's not a whole lot of distance between him and the 2 monsters. Even with all the scattered furniture and debris in the way, it wouldn't take them more than 10 seconds to maneuver around the obstacles and reach him. Hoping for the best, Zack pulls the pistol out of Jeremy's hand. Looking at it, he realizes it must have some sort of extended magazine. He puts his finger on the trigger and prays that the gun doesn't fail him. Zack's first shot is aimed at the monster's stomach. 2 more shots follow instantly. Zack's target is so close that it's pretty much impossible for him to miss. For the first time ever, Zack experiences what it feels like to take a life. The monster's heavy body tumbles forward, a big pile of flesh and muscle that slumps over and presses up against Zack. Getting it off of him feels like pushing away a bag of cement. The second attacker follows, giving Zack no chance to catch his breath. It tears away the bad cheese its feet are tangled in and throws itself at Zack's chest with relentless speed. Zack receives a vicious kick to the stomach. For a moment, Zack doesn't understand why so many images and lights are flashing by. Then he realizes he's flying through the air at high speed. The kick has catapulted him through the door and sending him flying into the dark hallway. Thank you so much for the hybrid time! Also, good evening! And a Pikachu in the middle of the fight. Okay.
Pikachu. Pika. Pikachu.
How are you doing? The accumulated damage Zack has suffered becomes too much to bear. A sharp pain in his back running down his whole spine is almost enough to make him pass out. It's only a question of time, really. He's reached his breaking point. Too much has been demanded of his body, and he's already been pushing his limits for far too long. Fighting spirit won't help if the heart doesn't play along anymore. His eyelids are growing heavy, and his senses dull as a strangely cool smoke fills his lungs. His enemy seemingly unfazed by all of this. You good, sleepy, huh? Don't tell me you're sleepy. You're gonna make me sleepy. No matter how hard he tries, Zack can't move or even just lift his arms up to protect himself. This is the end of the road for him. Well, it is what it is, he thinks to himself. A strange feeling of comforting relief fills him as he comes to terms with the situation, blaming only himself for having acted recklessly. At the very last moment, an image flashes in his mind, a face he hasn't seen all night. Only, it's real.
Betty.
A large muscle-bound frame steps over Zack's body and blocks the monster in its tracks. It takes a monster to fight a monster. Fatty? No response other than a small reaffirming nod. Planting his feet firmly on the ground, Fatty pushes the monster away from Zack inch by inch. Fatty seems to have grown even stronger since Zack last saw him. Zack has trouble thinking, but he can't help but notice the intense aura of strength around Fatty.
Who are you?
The difference in sheer power is so big that the difference in height doesn't seem to be a factor at all. Though the enemy monster seems more hateful and driven, that's not enough to make up for its weaknesses. Standing his ground firmly, Fatty keeps pushing the monster back inside the room at an even pace. Unwilling to accept the situation and not knowing what else to do, the monster pushes its right foot hard into the ground and throws up its knee, aiming straight at Fatty's stomach. With both its arms and legs busy, there's no chance for Fatty to dodge or block the attack. It hits him, but he doesn't even make a sound. Zack can see Fatty's body shaking as if a shockwave is running through it, but other than that, he doesn't show any reaction at all. Still feeling dizzy, Zack only now realizes what his friend plans on doing. Don't! His injury robs him of his voice. Gotta go, Zack! Through continuous pushing and shoving, the two large frames are slowly swallowed up by the thick smoke, disappearing within it. Thank you, Zack! After that, there's a series of heavy blows and crashes and... No! Wait, did he push the other one out of the window? Zack opens his mouth. He wants to scream, wants to shout, but he can't. A stream of tears is blurring Zack's vision. He can hear footsteps approaching in the distance, but he's neither the will nor the strength to react. Damn, what's this? A voice that sounds familiar. Zack lifts his head, but he can't see anything. There's next to no oxygen going to his brain, and he's mere seconds away from losing consciousness altogether. This is bad. What have you been doing? Come on, let's get you out of here. Zack feels nothing but excruciating pain as his body is dragged towards the stairs. Save him. Come on, please save him. Zack can't speak. Cecile and Nico are waiting at the rendezvous point. They both look extremely worried. Huge columns of smoke are rising up into the air, and loud sirens can be heard not too far away. People are gathering all around, whispering, exclaiming, coming up with wild theories about what's going on. One thing seems to be clear for everybody who's watching. This building is done for. But in fact it isn't. The meeting time they all agreed on has long since passed. Cecile is sick with worry because neither Zack nor Justin have come back yet. Let me go back and take another look. This whole situation's already a mess and you just attract unwanted attention. If anybody goes, it's me. But you... Or you could both stay here and help me instead? Interrupted in the middle of a sentence, Cecile can hear Justin's quiet, exhausted voice from a nearby alley. The crowd and the sirens are so noisy that she isn't even sure if it's really his voice. As she spots Justin, the reason for his lack of energy becomes immediately apparent. Get him to a hospital and get him there quickly. Alright. Alright, let's go. Flashback time? Before the hospital though? Yeah. Think about the following concept. Home. Home is something good. Leaving it is bad. The outside world is dangerous. If you go out there, you'll die. Everything from outside is bad and means you harm. That's why you should never allow anything from outside to enter your home. The room below is safe. You like it there because you like books. Like books. I like books. But you can't allow anyone in there. You mustn't allow them to enter. I don't like that. Don't let anyone in until you fully learned everything about yourself. Do not hesitate or take pity on them. They are the enemy. Enemy. Keep them away. Yes, it's probably a lot to process and hard to understand right now, but try to remember these things. No one is allowed near this room. Room. Can't. In. Keep them away. Enemies. Keep them away. That's right. Enemies. Keep them away. Room. Can't. In. Keep them away. Enemies. Keep them away. Enemies. Room. Can't. In. Room. Can't. In. Room. Can't. In. Oh, I'm not reading all that. Listen to me. Get out! Get out! See, that's what you get. That's what you get from telling someone that no one is allowed in. Everything from outside is an enemy. Now you're also an enemy. I have to think of another way. Haha. Thanks to a readily available taxi service we called via one of those modern apps, Zach was brought to the nearest hospital very quickly. A fracture on his left arm, contusions around the shoulder, injured lungs, broken ribs. It's hard to tell from the outside at first, but the damage from those attacks definitely left its mark on Zach's body. It's far worse than anything he ever suffered from his street brawls in the past. On the other hand, his previous fighting experience might have been his saving grace. Who knows how much he could have endured had his body been less used to such harsh physical punishment. Even so, it's been clear from the get-go that someone with his temper wouldn't stay bedridden for long. Even though I know that, I'm still scared half to death as I open the door to Hermitage and see him standing there. You know, I've been wondering if you figured out your life by now. I was thinking maybe everything that happened helped you set your priorities straight. Come on, man, it's okay. School was boring as always, so I thought why not drop by here instead. Zach still looks somewhat exhausted and hasn't fully recovered yet, but I can tell that he's regained a lot of his energy. For better or worse. The smoke bombs he and Justin set off to simulate a fake fire caused alarms to go off everywhere, even in the adjacent buildings. The firemen rushed inside to help people. I can't imagine the look on their faces when they found the whole room empty. So far, no newspaper has reported any shocking news, which means we did our job well. A successful mission, all things considered. The captives we set free managed to escape through the thick smoke, running off into nearby alleyways. Some of the nasty equipment used in a transformative surgical procedure, however, was found and bagged as evidence. Another burden for the city's already overworked law enforcement. Unfortunately for us, by the time the firemen entered the building, most of the people from Yui village had already made their escape. Only one of the thugs was found, but he was in such a bad state that Justin couldn't even ID him properly. I'm sure there's more to be found on various floors, and Scarlett could pull some strings to find out more. There's a risk involved with that though, and I'm not sure there's anything more that could be helpful to us at the moment. You're incredibly lucky, you know that? I just hope nobody follows your trail to this place. Come in, today's special is coffee. Instant coffee, that is. I take a closer look at him as he steps inside. It's good for him to be out in the sun again. He looks a lot less pale and much healthier already. His posture's still a little hunched over and beaten, but he seems to be on the right track. His mind is probably the thing that will take the longest to truly heal. Zach, what are you doing running off again? Nice emphasis on the again, Cecile. Zach, didn't you just start going back to school? Cecile and Justin give Zach a greeting that can be considered heartfelt in its own way. Hey, it's not like I'm making a habit of it. Cecile's question seems to have caught him a little off guard. His response sounds insecure as it often does when he speaks with her. I get that physical activity and moving around can aid your recovery, but I doubt that was your frame of mind when you decided to skip school, am I right? You know me. I bounce right back to my glorious old self in no time. Quit making it sound like I have cancer or something. Without knowing the three of them, it would be easy to mistake the conversations for arguments and hostile remarks. I know that it's just how they express their tight bond with each other. We all show affection in different ways. It's heartwarming to see how a group of strangers has formed such a strong and trusting relationship by going through challenges together. Still, I have to break up the quips and raise my voice a little to cut through their playful chatter. Hi, Weird! Good evening! How you doing? By the way, Zach, there's one more thing I've been meaning to ask you. What is it? No need to be so formal with me. Shoot. The night in the park. Do you remember what the man who gave you the water looked like? Cecile looks at me silently. She's probably worried that I might trigger some sort of PTSD with Zach. A valid concern. Getting reminded of how you were almost beaten to death isn't something anyone would want to go through. You're right, you just ate dinner? Nice. I'm good. I have a tummy ache, but I'm being so brave about it. Luckily, your worries are unfounded, as Zach responds clearly and concisely with little hesitation in his voice. To tell you the truth, I don't really remember all that much. I was scared to death and on the brink of passing out. I don't remember anything about the guy except that he was tall and looked like a foreigner. He looked like Wolverine, is what you're trying to say. He looked like Wolverine, but a little slimmer. No one knows where my tummy hurts. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. He frowns as he replies and takes a sip of his coffee. Honestly, the fact that he found you can't have been pure luck on his part. It's already a small miracle that you managed to get away and run to the park in your condition. Something like that just doesn't just happen. Zach's expression suddenly turns dead serious. I'd love to know the answer to what really happened just as much as you. Think of me as an idiot all you want, but the truth is that I don't remember a single thing. Hey now, no worries, okay? Nobody blames you, it's not your fault. You're the victim here and we all know that. Actually, I remember some of the things he said to me. It was mostly incoherent stuff that didn't make any sense to me when I heard it. Some of it stuck with me though. Really, what was it? If something goes wrong, you have to take the blame instead of running away. Taking responsibility is what makes you a man. That's the general gist of it anyway. You don't expect me to remember the exact phrasing, do you? As long as it's accurate and you didn't add anything to it. It sounds a little too much like something you would say. Way too up with my confidence, guys. The short version is I don't know what the hell the guy was talking about. He just kept rambling on. I bet if it had been a rock laying there instead of me, he would have kept talking and said the same things. The difference is that a rock's life wouldn't have needed saving. We still haven't figured out what happened to you. I'll think about it some more when I have the time, but honestly, I don't really want to remember. The whole situation was way too weird. Mr. Store Manager, what's wrong? You don't look so good. It's fine. Nothing to be concerned about. Now that I think about it, the way Zach described the way he's meant of talking, I do in fact know someone who fits that description. I haven't seen him in almost a year, and if it's really him, his involvement doesn't mean anything good. So Wolverine is a bad guy? But he's helped us 2 times already. Furthermore, how could he have managed to get dragged into this? So many thoughts and questions racing through my mind at once. It all makes me feel quite uneasy. I try my best to force a smile to show the others that everything's fine. Justin found a strange note in the building, and the mysterious man handed Zach one too. Comparing the handwriting makes me almost 100% sure that they have the same origin. Both of them are full of German phrases, which means it will take a long time to decipher them. Give them to me! Give them to me and I'll help you! Why is it always German? Taking everything into consideration, this doesn't seem to have anything to do with Scarlett's new case. In other words, this will cause us a headache for the foreseeable future. But let's save that for later. Either way, we should be happy with the way it turned out, all things considered. Currently, those guys don't have a base for operations, which will make it a lot harder for them to cause any trouble, at least for now. Guys, I'd like to take this moment to thank all of you again. Really, without you, those people wouldn't have been free. And I know for sure that if it hadn't been for you guys, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I'm glad to have found a crew willing to go above and beyond to help an impulsive idiot like me out. Don't say it like that. Being overly dramatic and serious is embarrassing. We all know it's important to have people who stick by you in tough situations. Exactly. We're here for one another. And we will always do our best to resolve things. I told you the reason for that, didn't I? Yeah, you did. Zach's phone rings and he takes the call. That's a weird ringtone, my dude. He stumbles over his words and stutters nervously, interjected by a middle-aged woman's angry voice that we can all hear clearly through the phone. It makes no difference whatsoever that the loudspeaker's turned off. The call doesn't last long. My mom caught on to me, I gotta head home. He flashes us a bitter smile. Though his face is rough, his tone of voice is gentle. Alas, the prodigal son returns. But you're telling me he is skipping school, but Cecile somehow is not skipping school in here? How does that work? Do you want me to accompany you? You're still not feeling all too well, are you? Don't worry, it isn't far. I wouldn't last long in the streets if I let something like this stop me. You're still in the streets? You're quite nosy today, Justin. Let's meet up and share a nice meal together soon. See ya. With these words, Zach leaves Hermitage and with a slight limp walks off into the sunshine, back into the normal world. After having stepped into a world of chaos and madness, it's hard to return to your normal life. All of us know the feeling. All we can do is try to wear a smile as we take this path together. Wow, must feel good to be young. Behave yourself, Justy. Don't act like you're the oldest or most experienced person around. You've been eavesdropping all this time, haven't you, Nico? Where have you been hiding? It's easy to hide from a bunch of guys who couldn't screw on a light bulb even if they all worked together. Wait, are you including me in that, or...? Okay, guys, enough chit-chat. So, why'd you come here today? Why'd you come here today? He asks, immediately giving us, once again, someone else to follow. Okay. The journey back to school is his own and nobody else's. The streets are packed with cars, pedestrians are hurrying from one place to the next, and the sound of honking and chatter fills the city. Life had been uneventful for these people. Nothing special happened yesterday, and today, and tomorrow will be the exact same. It's a life that's dictated by trivial routine and repetition. Thank you for the braid reading! Zack, on the other hand, has learned to appreciate every passing second. Every single ray of sunshine is to be treasured. Life is full of strange, unexpected twists and turns, and every day has the potential to bring about something new and unknown. There's nothing he can do for now, and he's well aware of that. The gang members that escaped the Ascension building know how to stay hidden and out of sight. That is, after all, one of the most valuable skill sets for a criminal. So cool, do you have different hairstyles? Yeah! Like them a lot. Those people are all thugs and they think like it too. Unfortunately, so does Zack. After much pleading and convincing from Zack, this is the only thing that Justin hasn't told the store manager the truth about. Fatty... Ever since he started wandering the streets, he's been shedding less and less tears. The streets are no place for crying. You can't let others catch you in a weak moment. Many replace it with a sort of strained laughter in an attempt to cover it up, but it gradually accumulates. That's why he's decided to leave. These last few days have helped him sort his thoughts. He has a lot of catching up to do for all the things he missed in school these last 2 years, but it's not time for that just yet. I'm sorry, Fatty, just give me a few more days. What will he do when he comes face to face with them? The thought preoccupies his mind. He will never be able to shake his burdens. All they ever do is change into new ones, but they always remain firmly planted on his shoulders. There's nothing he can do now. He's off the beaten path, and the only way to go about this is to keep his mouth shut and wait for a clear road to present itself to him. Just a few more days. For what? Achievement unlocked, run boy, run! Yeah, so that's the end of chapter 3. Zack has a new reason to keep fighting, to keep living. Da 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 da, it's a new chapter. 21 grams, that's the weight of a soul. No one can be completely sure of this statement, but many strongly share the belief. Trying to make sense of and give tangible meaning to something deemed immeasurable is an enticing thought, and one that has left a strong mark on mankind's history. It is nothing. It is created. It is unobservable. It is beyond rational thought. It is stupid. It is backwards. It is superstitious. So many thoughts and opinions, and no questioner can be asked to clear it all up. From ancient to modern times, there have always been people praising its importance. In both mythology and science, there have always been people wanting to prove its existence. As long as these opinions and endeavors persist, the discussion won't cease. Such has been the case, and such it will remain. And yet still, none of this has anything to do with it. Siamese Ghost, Chapter 4. Ooh! Alright. Slowly but surely, the autumn breeze is turning colder. Winter is coming, ready to rain down a snowy surprise upon us foolish enough to give in to the desire to catch a whiff of fresh air. It's easy to lose track of time cooped up inside Hermitage. No matter the time of the year, it's always quiet and everything stays the same. People walking around outside tightly wrapped in thick coats to ward off the cold is one of the few things that reminds me the time has gone by. Of course, with Hermitage being as old-fashioned as it is, there's no actual air conditioning unit. A glowing electric heat is set up in the area most prone to turning cold and humid. Without it, I wouldn't be able to open a store in good conscience. After all, that's part of my responsibility as the manager. It's not like there's all that much to look after, but still. You've been staring at the door absently for 5 full minutes. Keep it up and you start drooling soon. Not thinking at all, living in self-exile. Where's the difference? It's all the same to me. Or would you happen to have any idea how to fix that state of mind? Yes, how about trying to behave a little more like a normal human being for starters? Nico's rolling around close to the warm electric heater, like a cat bathing in the sun. It almost looks like she's trying to grill herself. It's rare for her to have a moment to herself without any worries. She doesn't have much free time on her hands, so I just let her be. She deserves to enjoy a moment of leisure. Not too long ago, the thrilling case involving the rough but caring teenager Zack came to a close. It was a team effort, and even though things didn't always go smoothly, we managed to see it through to the end. Justin suffered minor respiratory issues from an allergic reaction to the smoke, while Zack was badly beaten up. It sounds terrible, but truthfully, it all went a lot better than I anticipated. I'm also glad that Cecile and Nico both managed to stay out of harm's way completely. Zack is as energetic as always, if not more so. I'm amazed by the speed of his recovery. Every now and then, he drops by the store to talk to Nico and joke around. Until Cecile catches him, that is. And she always does. I'm happy about it, since it brings an atmosphere of liveliness and camaraderie to this otherwise drab and quiet place. Justin had been employed by Scarlett to help in the investigation of the recent road collapse incident. Scarlett's text messages have grown increasingly rude and agitated, which I'm taking as a sign that the investigation is going well. I don't know how to feel about the realization that everyone around me has a clear purpose while I'm going nowhere. I spent most of my time translating the text Zack and Justin stumbled upon. My German consists of the mere basics, and most of the time I can only make out individual words, which makes the process pretty arduous.
Here, I'll help.
I know zero Mandarin or Cantonese, so I'm not going to be of any help actually to translate it back, but I will know what it says.
Heh.
The good news is that this time nobody's there to put pressure on me and tell me to hurry up. I can understand the general meaning of the text by using the paraphrased versions produced by a translation software. However, it's still extremely difficult to understand. It clearly has some occult content, but with my limited knowledge, I'll have to focus on the simpler notes and the illustrations. These notes are clearly a record of some kind of ritual, one of far greater dimensions than any other event I've ever witnessed so far. The notes make it clear how complicated the preparations for the ritual are and how methodical a process it is. I don't think this is what the group at the Sanjin building was trying to pull off. It would have been too much trouble for them. Perhaps the mysterious man Zack met is connected to it all. After all, one of the texts came from him. I don't have any idea how to find out who he is, though. Zack's description is way too vague to be of any use. For a moment it sounded to me like... just who the hell is he? Forget it. A hectic approach is never the best idea, and there's no need to hurry. I should take another look at those texts once the time is right. These bizarre notes remind me. It's been a long time since the actual owner of Hermitage dropped by for one of his usual visits. Not that I'm complaining, I like the fact that he's not offloading any further problems onto me, but the fact that I haven't heard from him for so long could mean something bad. It's possible that he ran into some trouble of his own. I can't get anything done like this. Huh? Something bothering you? No, it's nothing really. Just my instincts kicking in for a second. I stopped my mind from wandering too far. I haven't reached a point where I desperately need a cup of tea yet. Instincts, huh? I didn't know you had that feature. She's ruthless, but I love her. Feature? What do you think I am, a robot?
Well, at least if you are, you're a likable one. Can you compute that?
Okay, enough. Speaking of tech, you've been very busy lately, right? How's the game development going?
The Something called a bottleneck, you know? The writers are just about ready to hang themselves.
Why is that? I thought all they need is a cool plot and that's it.
You make it sound like a good plot is easy to come by. They're somewhat lost right now and unsure about which direction a plot should take. Anyway, I'm just there to help fix some bugs, so I'll spend my time here until they're ready to proceed with the project.
I'm actually a little busy here. Nico shrugs and stares at the wall.
As long as you don't drag me into anything, I like the feeling of not being busy.
A few of you are helping out Scarlet at the moment, right? It's pretty strange for Justin to work for her. It's pretty far from the usual jobs a self-proclaimed elite detective specializing in supernatural cases should be doing.
I wholeheartedly agree with the elite part being self-proclaimed. From what our resident dummy Justin told me, Gold Maxime Law is pretty much a private detective agency itself. I know that Scarlet...
Stop for a moment. This is starting to sound ridiculous.
All I'm saying is that at the end of the day, they need to get their hands on information somehow, just like everyone else. And in this case, they're currently working on is very different from what the news would have you believe. That's a fact.
Really? Do you think there might be a supernatural background to it?
Nothing is ever simple, you know that.
That's true. These days it's a lot more common to believe in various unexplainable phenomena and question things outside the realm of human understanding, but sometimes people are quick to let the fantasy cloud their judgment.
In this case, it actually seems to be the real deal, but that's not a lot to go on.
And by real deal, you mean?
Something worthy of you looking into, exactly, but not right now.
It's already starting to sound like something I should be concerned about.
It's all still very unclear and obscure. Oh, and you asked me to look into that shadowy silhouette that was spotted at the incident site, remember? I was going to look for more information, but the information found me instead.
Wait, what do you mean? Did you see it yourself?
Not quite, but a number of very similar sightings have been reported. However, none of those were accompanied by bright explosive flashes like the initial one. There was a massive spike in unexplainable strange events in every area in which a sighting was reported, and I'm sure there's a connection.
Good to know, but is that all you have so far?
There's only so much we can do, you know? We've barely managed to avoid getting into trouble with the police during our investigation.
I should really find a way to help you guys out somehow.
I'd appreciate it, but let's save that talk for later, okay? Right now we should be there for Scarlet. She needs someone to listen to her, someone who can offer her a shoulder to lean on.
Feelings, huh? I didn't know she had that feature installed.
Bad joke, I'm being serious.
Sorry, what's wrong?
Her cat is missing.
Oh, I see. I had a feeling the reason for her being sad would be something like this. Being sad and crying isn't like Scarlet at all. She's always cold and composed. Her cat is one of the few things that could cause such an emotional response. Now that I recall, I think I even met her cat once. People always say like owner, like dog, but maybe the opposite is true for cats. It's human nature to love a little ball of fur that meows and rubs its little nose against people. When she first got to the city, it took her a long time to settle in with her little pet. I remember how shocking it was to see. The stoic, tough lawyer letting herself be controlled by a tiny, cute kitten. Surely a sight to behold. And now why in the world did we move all the way to the city anyway? Memories of the past are starting to creep up in the back of my mind, wrapping themselves around my brain like vines. I shake my head in an attempt to regain my composure and return to the here and now. So are you helping her with the research? With the search?
We are helping her with the search, yes. She didn't ask for it, but she can count on us.
Whatever happened to the supernatural detective agency we had going?
Reading the ancient books for clues can get old, don't you think? Also, Scarlet puts actual food on the table.
Keep thinking that. You see her busting out the instant noodles soon enough. It's hard to find a good counter-argument. I could ramble about money being the root of all evil, but that would only serve to emphasize the fact that I have none.
I have to say, the fact that we haven't found any trace yet makes me feel kinda guilty about stuffing my face with all those meals.
No need to feel guilty. Just consider payment for all the hard work you've been doing for me lately.
But you're not Scarlet. If she gives me something, I feel bad about being unable to return the favor. You broke anyway, that's no secret.
I need to crush the last remnants of my fragile self-esteem.
Stop riding the pity train or people will start to ignore you.
Nico sits down on the workbench, kicking around with both of her legs dangling in the air. It's one of the few moments where she actually looks and behaves like a child.
By the way, concerning the case of Scarlet's missing cat, there have been some bad rumors circulating about pets going missing.
Missing pets? And you think a person is behind it?
All kinds of pets have gone missing, a wide variety of different breeds and species. If it's a thief, he knows what he's doing.
So you thought it necessary to look into the motives behind it?
We felt it was necessary, yes. Anyway, the deep-eyed Dr. Strange had seen.
You're not doing anything dangerous again, are you?
Come on now, who do you take me for?
I think you know that all too well by now.
So anyway, most of the pets went missing in the east side of town. It's been happening for a couple of months now. At some point, someone initiated a search and managed to find a few of the missing pets, but they weren't the same as before. They behaved strangely. They were hyperactive and hard to catch. It seemed like they didn't want to be caught, and they even made attempts to run away again.
That sounds oddly reminiscent of the situation Zack and the others found themselves in, only this time it's pets instead of humans.
I scoured the web and there are forum posts where people report hearing strange animal noises in the middle of the night. By cross-referencing those reports, I managed to pinpoint one location in particular that seemed suspicious. Hi!
For the love of God, please don't let it be some maze-like office building again. I really don't need another sunshine building in my life.
It's a TV factory. An abandoned one.
A TV factory? Mato number 11 TV factory?
How'd you guess that?
It has somewhat of a reputation. The price for land in the city's east side is quite high these days, yet that abandoned factory has been left untouched. I knew something was fishy about that.
The family involved in the Kangen district incident was also connected to the place back when it was still in business. Do you know anything else that could be of any help?
Not a thing. Don't give me that look, I'm not even from this city. You know a lot more than I do.
I can't let this rest until I've investigated it myself.
Nico jumps up and walks towards the door. Hey, Nico, please be careful out there. If you encounter anything strange, don't try to be a hero. Come back here and let us find a way to tackle it together.
Huh? Who said I'm doing this alone?
She turns her head and winks at me.
Why should I do this by myself when it just so happens to be an elite detective specializing in the supernatural?
Now she's just showing off. Well, I can't help you. Good grief, just how dirty is this place? Justin mutters his complaints to himself as he kicks away some of the trash at his feet. As a true professional, he's well aware that fieldwork is part of the job, but this is more like survival of the fittest mixed with dumpster diving. He feels like he's out in the wilds, far away from even the faintest semblance of human civilization, even though he's right in the middle of the city. For an abandoned factory, this place almost has its own ecosystem. Massey doesn't even begin to describe it. It took him quite some time to climb up the mountain of trash heaped right outside the entrance. He even had to jump to grab a ladder suspended halfway in mid-air to get inside. The decrepit walls are speckled with mold, and the piles of trash all around the place are giving off a nasty stench. The odor of fermentation must have been accumulating here for ages, leading Justin to believe that this place has long been forgotten. He tells himself over and over again not to linger around too long. For some strange reason, Justin feels as if staying in his place for too long might render him unable to leave. When he formed his new investigative duo alongside Zack, he expected to be thrust into weird situations. It's just something that comes with the territory. Still, now that he's alone in a place like this, it's more than he bargained for. Keep it together. Bringing rookies along only makes situations like this even more difficult. Nico doesn't count. This isn't a place at which anybody would ever choose to stay. It is for that exact reason that Justin's interest is piqued and he discovers intriguing new clues. There are imprints in the dust that look suspiciously like they were left by human palms and animal feet. Jackpot. Justin pulls his trench coat a little tighter and makes sure the miniature camera he's carrying in his pocket is still functioning properly. He really hates firearms. He knows they attract trouble like a magnet, which is why he prefers to solve his cases by blending in and relying on communication. Sadly, those principles of his haven't done him much good lately. Carefully moving along the wall, he keeps his footsteps as quiet as he possibly can. The puddles of stagnant water around the place are mixed with various excrements. The foul stench itself is enough to serve as a repellent. It's like the smell itself is screaming at Justin to stay away. Something isn't right. Discarded tools and other remnants of tech equipment wouldn't be out of place or unusual for a former TV factory. Whatever that stench is, and whatever is swimming in those puddles, however, shouldn't be here. The further Justin walks, the clearer the prints in the thick dust become. Whoever's here has no intention of hiding, or maybe they just aren't thinking not far ahead. Jeez, I thought I was here to find missing pets, not to trail cavemen. Voicing his frustration once again, Justin gently pushes against another door. The door opens. Everything is dimly lit, and a few rays of sunlight from above aren't nearly enough. Machinery is covered in cloth blankets, which are in turn covered in multiple layers of dust. Tech parts are strewn all about the place. In an almost poetic way, the dust particles dancing in rays of sunlight tell a modern tale of urban decay, but that's beside the point. This room looks almost identical to the previous one. Though all machines have long stopped working, Justin has mixed feelings about it all. He moves cautiously, surveying his surroundings in an attempt to find something useful. There's a box of takeout food. Its contents are surprisingly fresh, but there's an odd ring of teeth marks along the box's edges. The food is cold and smells pretty bad. It must have been here for some time, but not long enough to spoil and rot yet. Looks like there are really people living here. This is a case about missing pets after all. It would be strange if there wasn't some evil animal kidnapper behind it all. Even if he managed to solve the case, it would only serve to reopen the wounds of those who have long given up hope. They would have to live through the whole ordeal again in their minds. Why would someone do this? Obviously, there's nobody there to answer that question for him. The answer won't just show itself like that. It's in here somewhere, so it's time to turn this place upside down. Huh? The sudden sound of a loud meow startles Justin. He almost knocks over a bucket filled with water in front of him. Luckily, he quickly regains his composure, and his fast reaction allows him to avoid making any further noise. Oh. Another sound. This time it's a dog barking. It's only a faint sound. Justin turns his head to try and pinpoint the source by following the echo. Justin slowly walks forward, carefully making his way towards the source of the sound. Things are going better than expected. Short nights and long days are worth it when it all culminates in a successful investigation. He takes another step towards the door. Step. 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 What the? In a sudden flash of light, an excruciating pain rushes through the detective's whole body. Oh shit. It's the last thing he says. Well, he did not say oh shit! Where's Justin? Some of Scarlett's first words after stepping through the door are exactly the ones I was expecting. He's not here and Nico just left. Cecile can't be reached. She probably has classes at the moment. What's the matter? What's the matter isn't what any normal person would ask as a follow-up to that. Oh, please. As if anything I get involved in ever turns out to be normal. I put the old newspaper I was reading down on a stack of books and opened my arms wide. What do you need Justin for? Is there something I can help you with? Maybe. You see, when I employ the services of a so-called professional private detective, I expect him to be at the office at my beck and call when I need him to find someone or something for me. It wouldn't hurt if he offered me a cup of coffee without needing a reminder too. I'm afraid that's a little too much. So I take it you're looking for someone? That's right, I am. There's been a new development in the case. Naturally, that must mean something new has come up. Zack can be reckless and some of his choices have been questionable in the past, but he did burst up that kidnapping ring pretty much on his own, not counting Justin's assistance. A lot of the thugs that were rescued from the smoke are in police custody right now. That's a success story, wouldn't you say? He did a good job. I wrote the report on the incident. Justin gets all the credit. I hope you can see why. The alternative would have been them picking up on the escaped captives and rushing to the hospital for interviews, eventually plastering all the newspapers around town with it. I don't think any of us would have wanted that, right? Right, and it paints you guys in a really good light. It's great publicity. Anyway, thanks to those who were arrested, I had the chance to get my hands on some more information. It gave me much needed leverage to make use of slightly less official channels and gain insight into details several other departments were in possession of. So what did you find out? There have been reports of a suspicious person running around close to the site of the incident late at night. A local resident who works late shifts noticed the person, but they never did anything to warrant further investigation. Ironically, we have the 996 working hour system to thank for once. Because of it, the local resident, who's close to a nervous and paranoid breakdown, was able to take photos of the suspicious person. He still has them somewhere. That's what you need your new lapdog for? Don't say it like that, that sounds really weird. Anyway, once I get my hands on the photo material, maybe you can help me analyze it? Sherlock Holmes can look at the picture and get a story with a couple 100,000 words out of it, but that's not real life. Please don't get your hopes up just yet. How about you stop crushing them prematurely instead? You know how hard it is to come across a solid lead. Okay, fine. I let out a heavy sigh and take a look outside the store, hoping to find some relaxation. I should have known better. I see and find many things, relaxation never being one of them. It appears I came at a bad time. I haven't seen Eloise in ages, and even though I'm very happy to see she's okay, seeing her again definitely doesn't conjure up feelings of relaxation. To tell you the truth, unless you're here for books, there's rarely ever a right time. This place keeps me busy. I don't know. My past experiences with your books have been enough to last me a lifetime. I understand that. You saw and experienced things few others ever will. But please don't take this the wrong way. I'm eternally grateful both to you and to Miss Scarlet. It's just the kind of thing, it's all... Don't worry, it's okay. I get it. I tried to sound a little more cheerful. The atmosphere inside the store is starting to become a little too heavy for my liking. So, what can I do for you? I'm looking for Cecile. Isn't she here with you? No, unfortunately not. I was going to ask you about her too. I'm worried about her. Where could she have gone? I thought she'd be at school. Did you look there? Yes, but she wasn't there. That's why I came to you. Makes sense. Sounds like there's some sort of trouble brewing again? I hope not. Let's not assume anything just yet. Could she be out investigating the case with Nico and the others? No, at least she's not supposed to be. Nico said herself that the only person to actively engage in fieldwork would be Justin. Do you have any other idea where she could be? I don't quite know the answer to that. I don't quite know how to answer that. I've had a nagging feeling in the back of my mind for a while now. It's been awfully quiet. Too quiet. I spoke to a teacher. Apparently she seemed upset and called in sick yesterday. Nobody in class knows what's going on with her. She was doing very well. At least that's the impression I had. She was starting to get along with the others, and there's nothing going on that would make her go to such lengths to avoid the art club. Why is that happening to my head? Really? That's great to hear, actually. I just wish the circumstances were different. From what you're saying, whatever the problem is, it has nothing to do with the school. I'll need to check out other potential reasons. We need to find out what's going on. Yes, please do so. Look, that sounds very noble of you, but give it to me straight. What you're actually saying is you sent me out to run your errands as always, am I right? Errands, come on, that sounds like I'm sending you out for groceries. So please, just refer to it as investigative work from now on. Yeah, right, whatever you say. Not a quiet moment. Anyway, let's work together. We can assume something out of the ordinary has happened, can't we? It's not like Cecile to completely disappear. That's right, what with the trouble she's gotten into in the past, we have to assume the worst. Better safe than sorry. Has the silkworm turned up again? No, fortunately for us it hasn't. But that's not to say there isn't... Gee, stop it already with that ominous tone of yours. You're going to scare the poor girl to death. Sorry. Fact is, the city has been in quite an uproar lately. Strange things have been happening and there's a lingering sense of unease in the air. Though I hope I'm wrong about that. I've heard some strange rumors too, especially during these past 2 months. Some of the other students have said that they saw this huge 2-meter tall figure standing near the playground, but nobody really believes it. Most people think the students are just making up campfire horror stories. For now, regardless of whether any of those rumors turn out to be true, treat them all as false information. Otherwise things will get even more confusing. We need to work strictly based on solid evidence. Eloise looks sad, so I do my best to comfort her. The situation is tense enough already, so there's no need to cause her any further panic. What a very elegant way to suggest that you to say that you suggest we keep our heads buried in the sand. It's the right attitude and it helps, doesn't it? We can't afford further distractions based purely on hearsay. You're right, I don't need to be reminded of that. Scarlet looks sullen and exhausted. The constant stress must be getting to her even more than I imagined. By the way, I heard from Nico that your cat is missing? Yes, oh my gosh, it's so utterly horrible, let me tell you all about... Scarlet's voice suddenly goes up at least an octave, but she immediately realizes what she sounds like. Clearly embarrassed, she clutches her sunglasses awkwardly. Ahem! My cute little Blueberry, such a good boy. He would never run off on his own. You named your cat Blueberry? Oh, that is adorable. Ever since I moved here, the little angel has never left the neighborhood. He knows where it's safe, knows that he has to avoid running into any big dogs. He's always found his way back home to me safely. For him to vanish like this isn't normal. I miss his touch, his cute little paws. He loves to cuddle and he's not afraid of anything. What if he ran into something? What if he ran into some rabid wild animal? Oh no, can you imagine? Or what if... Scarlet can't stop. It's like a lifetime of emotions flowing out all at once. She rambles on, worrying and whining like there's no tomorrow. Emotions, huh? Turns out Nico was right about Scarlet having those. And the feature seems thoroughly developed. You guys better get back here soon. It's just now that I'm starting to realize how much I miss having these people around me. An odd bunch, sure, but I treasure each and every one of them. Well, one of them is apparently out of commission now. Ah, never mind. Justin finally regains consciousness. He opens his eyes a little, trying to get a sense of his surroundings. He's finally awake again. The world has him back, and it seems like it has gotten brighter. What is this place? What's wrong with him? The throbbing pain in his head makes him remember some parts of what happened before. Was that an electric shock? Who would even think of such a thing? A jumble of questions rushes through his mind all at once. His thoughts still racing, Justin tries to sit up to sort everything out. 3 faces suddenly appear in front of him. Meow! Holy crap! Meow. Hold on, what's that sound? Already confused by the overall situation, the sound of his own voice only raises more questions. His mind is having a tough time processing what's going on. Just as his confusion is close to reaching its peak, another voice interrupts his rampant thoughts. What's the matter, you dummy? He spots the dark face of a good-looking Siamese cat, but a regular cat could never convey that much information with just meows. The cat's tone, it sounds strangely familiar, almost like a person. As a matter of fact, it sounds a lot like... Hold on, Nico, is that you? Of course it's me. What kind of question is that? Nico, I think it's a little hard for him to understand. Another cat, and this one speaks with, for the lack of a better term, Cecile's voice. It's not really her voice. It's more like the sounds a cat is making are being translated into actual human language. And for some reason, Justin can understand it all just fine. He's having no trouble understanding the cats at all, as if he never spoke another language. He can understand all of it immediately, as if he himself were thinking solely in meows. As if he were a cat himself. Mustering up the strength to calm down from his initial shock, Justin lifts up his small arms, turning his wrists to take a good look at his... hands? No. Paws. What the hell? Stop making such a racket already. Be quiet. Every member of the just recently established investigative team has turned into a fluffy, furry, soft little cat. So we've all turned into cats? Duh, check out your silly looking pointy ears and your paws. We're not teddy bears, that's for sure. No need to be so harsh, Nico. I don't have anything against teddy bears. What the hell is going on? How did this happen? Let's set aside the situation for a second. Why are all of you here? To save you, obviously. Zack answers Justin's question while peacefully playing with fallen leaves and small branches on the ground. Zack seems to have turned into a long-haired, unusually large cat of imposing stature. From Justin's perspective, he looks like a baby lion. Cecile and Nico are a lot small and have both turned into cats of very different breed, judging by their appearances. It's hard for Justin to tell the actual difference. He's never really been a cat lover. To him, all cats look the same. Bruh. Maybe the fur and ears have some subtle differences, but that's about it. Cecile picks up where Zack is left off and does her best to explain the situation to a bewildered-looking Justin. Howdy, room. Good evening. Several of them, in fact. You were gone for a long time and you didn't come back. Zack was worried about you, so he came to the abandoned factory to look for you. Then Zack didn't come back either. Cecile got worried about that hothead, and before I knew it, she'd run off to look for him as well. You two reckless fools can handle yourself, so I wouldn't have wasted time on you. But I couldn't let Cecile run off to a place like this all by herself, so naturally I followed her. Shortly after I arrived here, I was knocked out by something when I got close to a door. When I woke up, I turned into, well, into this. Same here. That's what happened to me as well. I see, so chances are it all happened to us in the exact same spot. Yes, it certainly seems so. Usually I would be a lot more stoked about having you guys here, but we don't exactly have strength in numbers this time. Only numbers.
Don't you dare speak like that, you fool. It's all because you couldn't get things done. Every single one of us is here because we were worried about you. And of course I have to be the smallest and most fragile looking one again. Why me? Look at that idiot over there. He's almost the size of a freaking dog. It's not fair. Are you seriously blaming me?
Calm down, please, both of you. Let's think about what we should do next. You're right. Even if we manage to get out and ask someone for our help, they probably just want to cuddle.
And even if we somehow get to Scarlet, there's a big chance she never ever let us go again.
Is Scarlet really like that?
Well, her cat Blueberry still hasn't come home, and how they put this, Scarlet can be quite obsessive.
Calling for help seems impossible, things considered. How about writing a note? Help us or something like that?
Look at your paws, Dumbo. If you can pull off writing even half a word, I call you Picasso from this day forward.
Okay, but you're like... You still have your intelligence. I don't see how writing a note would be that hard to do. Like, worst case, you could dip your paws into ink and walk out the characters. Come on, at least I offered up a solution instead of complaining. Never mind, first we should try to understand our new bodies. The sound of several growling stomachs longing for food fills the room, closely followed by awkward silence. It's getting late, and without any of them noticing, half the day has already passed. Justin now knows how hungry cats must feel, as he can't shake the sensation that his belly's cramping up. Judging by the frustrated expressions on the others' faces, they must be feeling the same way.
Objection! Let's not get into the biology of these new bodies, at least not until we've dealt with this situation.
I know we need to find a way to deal with it, but how? Any of you guys happen to know how to catch mice? I have a few ideas, but all of them involve me actually having two proper hands. How the hell should I know how to catch a mouse like this?
You're not chasing after ruins with your own hands in your spare time, are you? Guys, I think I know a place where it shouldn't be that hard to find something to eat without having to go dumpster or sewer diving.
What are you waiting for? Take us there. I don't mind chewing on some leftovers, but I'm not sure if I can handle chomping down on some nasty critters.
Can't be picky, better prepare yourself.
Nico shakes her hand and points it towards the parkway. Justin doesn't quite understand what she means by prepare yourself, but the other two seem to be assuming the worst. Come on, let's get out of here. One after the other, the four small, confused cats walk outside, embarking on their very own grand journey. Okay, so this chapter has us turning into cats for whatever reason. Isn't that fun? Here are the details of tonight's special report. Christmas Eve is drawing near and preparations are already underway. Among one of the most anticipated events this year is, of course, the city's very own traditional annual Christmas parade. This year's parade in particular has attracted worldwide attention due to the participation of very important political summit members. It is shaping up to be the biggest and most record-shattering Christmas parade yet. The departments in charge have said that they will do their very best to ensure it will be a peaceful parade that everyone can enjoy. Much effort is being put into keeping the streets safe. I'm glad you could catch this part of the game. Hehe. Yeah, this is the beginning of chapter 4. It took us like 1.5 hours to finish up chapter 3, and this is now chapter 4. So... Huh, same as every year. This night is a particularly lonely one. Getting there then. Yeah, it's like this chapter is apparently the last one where we have bad endings to catch by you know, choosing what to do, where to go. And then chapter 5 and chapter 6 are just reading, and more reading until the end of the game. And I also have to catch up on the bad endings before we do that, so we can get it all done in one go. Because there's some... If I understand it correctly, there's apparently some more stuff there if you manage to get all of the bad endings as well before getting to the end of the game. Entering a new millennium, the feeling of melancholia is especially strong tonight. It's too quiet. Without Nico around, it feels as if the whole building has come to an abrupt standstill. Usually she livens up the place. As the ironic cherry on top, 4 stray cats seem to have decided to settle into the storage room. I don't know whether that makes me sad or happy, but I guess for now I should appreciate the company. It's quite strange how they seem to be traveling in a pack. Stray cats are usually loners. They're all very different. One's small, one's thin, one's fat, and one's unusually large. They don't seem to have come from the same household, which makes it even weirder that they bonded in such a way. I wouldn't complain if they were only here for the food. I have some ham sausages in reserve that cats love, but these pesky fellas kept sniffing around all around my desk, and it just won't stop stepping on everything. It's cold-hearted, but what other choice do I have but to chase them away? It still makes me feel bad, and chasing them away left its marks on me. Why were the stray cats so interested in my maps? I gently wiped the bloody claw marks on the back of my hand down with disinfectant. Skylar would probably handle something like this a lot better than me. Yeah, jeez, I wonder where Nico made them go. Alright. Oh, 3. Major plane crash. A Boeing airliner crashed in Southeast Asia, killing all 162 passengers. All of those weird stuff going on, those mysterious accidents. I'm drawn towards it all somehow, but why? Major plane crash. A Boeing airliner crashed in Southeast Asia, killing all 162 passengers on board. Immediately after it was confirmed that the plane had gone missing, the Indonesian military launched a large-scale search and rescue operation. 162 passengers and crew members were on board flight JK350, including 152 adult passengers, 3 children, 1 infant, 1 pilot, and 5 flight attendants. A spokesman for the Bureau of Search and Rescue confirmed that the airliner crashed into the ocean. First estimates point to nobody having survived the crash, and various remains have already been located. The crew of the Search and Rescue Bureau reported that the wreckage of flight JK350 was found in the waters near Manila. A large number of mobile phones, purses, life jackets, and other items were found floating near the wreckage and the surrounding area. The huge search radius makes it very hard to find all the scattered evidence. Due to the sudden, unexpected nature of the incident, our embassy is currently in the process of checking with Indonesia to see if there were any Chinese turrets on board the flight, and will follow up with the corresponding announcement as soon as more is known. The aircraft involved in this case was a Sonic 767 MAX 8. The aircraft was delivered on August 13 of this year and had only been in use for 3 months. Crashes always reflect badly on the airline companies, especially those involving new planes. It is a sign to potential customers that there might be bigger problems going on in the background, and the trust in the airline's competence is shattered. The question that remains is, should you upgrade your insurance if you plan on taking a trip to Thailand this year? It rhymes with vanilla. Vanilla. Another one, just how many planes have crashed in Southeast Asia over the years? I don't think a better insurance would help here, to be honest. Who even wants to travel by plane anymore? It's like sending your own death certificate these days. Pay for the flight and get a free burial at sea included? Isn't there some penalty for such accidents? How can it be that all those official organizations suddenly start playing dumb but lives are at stake? They've probably just given up on trying to fix the underlying technical problems. Those small foreign airlines operate in such small budgets that, sadly, safety is of zero concern to them. Those companies start flights during a typhoon warning and make landings in the middle of storms like that's the norm. There's something shady going on here. Schachfeld. Schachfeld is German. That's what you call a board of chess. What? Sounds like science fiction. I always think of vanilla ice cream on the rare occasions I hear the word. I mean, it makes sense. If I think of vanilla, I'll know next time. Oh, so you're telling me the folders, they're also called Manila folders and not Manila folders? Damn. Lots of wild theories have been sparked over the last few years as far as that is concerned, including a popular one involving the Bermuda Triangle and a crashed medium-sized airliner. It wasn't covered in the news all that much because few people died, seeing as the plane was just doing a test flight without any passengers on board. Ever since that crash, other planes passing over the alleged crash site have regularly reported strange disturbances, such as the navigational instruments malfunctioning. Luckily these days, navigation works via satellite, and it's a surefire way to stay on the right flight path and maintain the appropriate altitude. But it really makes you think, doesn't it? So far nothing has been found down there as far as I'm aware. And you think this case was similar? Not sure, we can't tell unless an official flight record is made public. The site I usually browse when it comes to this kind of stuff doesn't have any information on this one. Seems sketchy. English is whack. Yeah, it is. It would be so interesting to dig around at the Bermuda Triangle. Just imagine, as long as it's not some sort of hidden alien base or gateway to hell or something. How long has the Bermuda Triangle been active anyway? Is it man-made? I do not want to have to hear about the Bermuda Triangle ever again. ever. Remember in Somnium Files when we were on that one Irish route and she just went off about the Bermuda Triangle? Enough! Super blue blood moon will soon appear in the night sky. According to media reports, astronomy enthusiasts are in for a rare spectacle on the 31st of November, the super blue blood moon. So what is it exactly? Let's split that name up and look at each word separately. A supermoon occurs when the full moon is at the nearest point in Earth's orbit, also called perigee. Blue moon refers to the second full moon in a calendar month, and the phenomenon called blood moon usually occurs during a total lunar eclipse. The super blue blood moon will occur in North America, Australia, the Middle East, Asia, and parts of Russia. Moonblogger Gordon Johnson said, the West Coast, Alaska, and Hawaii will have clear skies, making the whole unique spectacle visible from beginning to end, but keen observers in these areas will need to get up early. People who live in other regions or in places where the weather isn't playing along can watch the whole thing live on NASA TV. NASA TV. The Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles will also be showing a live feed on their website. Had to mute you because spoilers. Oh no, it's not. She's just very talkative about the Bermuda Triangle. There's nothing spoilery about it. She's just very interested in stuff like that. So she was like info dumping about it. Any list of all the places, including smaller ones, where it's gonna be visible? What about Rome? Can you see it from there? It says here, North America, Australia, Middle East, Asia, and parts of Russia. What about Rome? Can you see it from there? Bluemoonrising.jpg. So is it a blue moon or blood moon? I don't get it. If it's a blue moon, isn't it just a second full moon? What's a blue moon game called again? Too lazy to look it up. It's mostly known because of its ads. I'm sure you've seen them. Quite a few celebs endorse it. The ads play before gaming-related YouTube videos nearly all the time. Oh, we've actually played that one, guys. It's pretty cool for what it is, especially compared to other games like that. Specials to call them, I guess, like aliens, whatever. It was like, can it be dangerous because of the way it's natural stuff? Oh yeah. For some reason, when I was a child, I also heard a lot about the Bermuda Triangle, and was so scared to like get involved with it. Which doesn't make sense, like you wouldn't even normally be near it. Same with quicksand. When am I ever going to come across quicksand in the middle of Central Europe? When? Tell me, brain. Or tell me why as a child I heard so many people on so many things on TV talking about the dangers of quicksand. One day I approach you, oh no. Had a mysterious dream, shouldn't have looked directly at the monster. Guys, I browsed some of the stories and posts on a mystery horror board yesterday. Bad idea in retrospect. Absolutely ruined my night. I had some way too vivid nightmares. Obviously because the internet's at fault and I'm blaming you all. Just kidding. Allow me to share. So here it is. In the dream, me and a group of others are hiking through a pretty nice forest, taking in some of the sights nature has to offer. Through the dense trees, we suddenly see a tall mountain appear before us, looking quite ominous. Being the intrepid adventurers we are, we instantly agree anonymously to climb it. It's an insanely long climb, and every single time we think we've reached the end, it's as if the mountain suddenly grows higher. Or maybe we're back at the beginning? Anyway, it takes us forever, like 1 or 2 weeks, but then we reach the top, utterly exhausted. We see an imposing altar with all kinds of offerings, burned pig's feet, chicken heads, the usual stuff. A figure in a black long cloak with hood approaches us and immediately orders us to kneel down. We're all blindfolded and told to pray to the god of the mountain, for we have trespassed in his kingdom. As we recite the prayers given to us by the hooded figure, we hear thunder and rain crashing down right before a voice speaks to us. It's strange, some sort of telepathy, because the voice is right inside my head. It doesn't sound human at all, but I can't define it. Strangely enough, what it tells us is still completely clear. We are to leave the mountain the way we came without taking off our blindfolds. In return, we will be granted eternal life. The alternative is a violent sudden death and a descent into madness. At the foot of the mountain, I think to myself, who wants eternal life anyway? And take off my blindfold. Everything is just one big whirlwind of shadows, but not always pitch black. It's like a storm of thunder and colors, you know? On top of the mountain, a gigantic leviathan of a creature looms over everything, with tentacles swarming all around it. As soon as I gaze upon it, my heart stops and I suffocate. Quicksand, you never kind of made me think. Has a couple of explanations. I can go ahead and look into that little past incident. Okay. DM me that thing and then I'll read up on it. I wake up and my dorm buddy's loudly snoring next to me. That's when I realized it was all a dream, although a super messed up one. A few days later, I still felt a little unwell, so I went to the school nurse to get some medicine. They gave me something that I hope does the trick, otherwise I have to check in with an actual hospital. The other 2 guys in my dorm are now away for an internship, so there's not much I can do to take my mind off of feeling sick. I'm pretty much stuck here on my own. I'm not motivated to do anything, though I should really trim my beard. And my nose hair, good god. It's so nasty. Why do I have to shave it? I'd much rather just stick a candle up my nose and burn it all away once and for all. One hair sticks out way too far and I'm always reminded of those tentacles when I look in the mirror. And it's just on top of feeling sick all the time. Do you know how hard life is when you feel like vomiting when you see your nose in the mirror? Ugh, my stomach still hurts. I once had a disgusting dream in which I carried a cooked baby's head in my pocket. I hid from the police in a dark alley and sometimes pulled it out to chew on it a little bit. When I woke up, I had a really nasty taste in my mouth for hours. Ew! That's insane, because it sounds much more realistic than my dream. Nasty. Just look at it a few more times, you get used to it. Sounds like someone's lost his marbles. I mean, if he throws up at the thought, he can have gone insane. Insane people don't worry about nose hair, that's common knowledge. You probably just ate something bad, lol. Check the label next time and don't eat that rancid street food that's made with gutter oil and you should be good to go. I once did a nightly movie marathon and watched a whole bunch of Cthulhu flicks in a row. Demons, aliens, all those weird deformed creatures obscured by shadows or fog. Holy moly. Anyway, when I went to bed, I had a super weird dream. I was walking through a desolate city. It wasn't really in ruins, but the buildings were angled in a way that was unnatural. Like, you know, they wouldn't still be standing if they were built like that in real life. So I gaze off into the distance, and there's this purple hue on everything. And on a really tall building, so tall it looked almost like a mountain, I see this outline of an absolutely enormous creature and endless tentacles rolling around. I stare at it, and suddenly one of the tentacles moves toward me. It looked super soft and squishy, and I really wanted to touch it, but then it rapidly sucked me in and I was eaten. I woke up covered in sweat with my heart pounding. How come the creatures are so similar even though these are different people's dreams? I wonder if it's because I've been eating canteen food and cup noodles for over 10 years. Never eat anything fresh. Maybe I should eat healthier. You probably can't handle spicy food and caught a glimpse of the afterlife. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Oh hee hee. Alright. Let's see. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Although people like to think that cats are lazy animals and sleep most of the day, that's far from true. In reality, they rarely fall into a deep sleep, for they are predators by nature, always alert and ready to pounce on a prey, even when they appear to be relaxing. That is very true. Cats are, most of the day, you know, thank you for the young binary. Even though cats sleep, what is it? I think cats sleep for up to 18 hours a day. Thank you for the pat. They don't actually fully sleep during those times. Which is why I always feel so bad when I accidentally wake up my cats when they were actually full on sleeping, because you can really hear the difference between them just, you know, being sleeping, like napping kind of, and then you touching them and they're like, But if they're actually like full on deep sleep, which just goes to show that they really trust me, right? If they fall to the full on sleep next to me and then I touch them and they go with the full hello, they love getting the zoomies at 3 a.m. Very true, very true. Welcome Raiders, welcome, hello. I'm new. I like the color pink. Vision lovers in JRPGs, and we are currently playing Hermitage Strange Case Files. We're also currently a cat. Several cats, in fact. We're learning about cats. How was your stream? What were you drawing? Welcome. I don't know, it's just... I wish I could sleep. Like, I think I could quite possibly sleep 18 hours, no problem. But, like, I'm not actually able to because of society. I could, though. Working on some commissions. Nice. Cats are the best they are. I love cats. They're ready to attack or flee at even the slightest sign of a disturbance. To them, the unpredictable, bustling city is a reflection of their lives. Nico wakes up earlier than usual today. Sleep alone isn't enough to get rid of the heavy exhaustion or the emotional scars Scarlett's extensive pampering has caused. Along with the first rays of light come sounds that she never paid attention to as a human. Now they are enough to get on her nerves and disturb her precious sleep. Never before have human footsteps sounded so annoyingly loud to her. The ear-shattering screech of bicycle brakes is enough to make her feel like she's dying. Memories of her human life flash before her eyes, which confuses her for a moment. Back then, hearing footsteps meant someone was out and about looking for her. The thought still conjures up paranoia, an uncomfortable reminder of all the days she spent out on the streets, hiding, surviving all by herself. The memories aren't pleasant. Her fear of being alone is a thing of the past, and it has been for a while now. She's in good company. A bicycle drives past, shocking Justin half to death and startling Cecile immediately afterwards. Justin lets out a frustrated meow, causing the only cat still sleeping to roll into its bag and wiggle around. Water. No, not the water. Please, I don't want to bathe.
Looks like he's caught in a water-related nightmare.
Nico slaps the cat on the ground with one of her paws, even though it's nearly twice her size.
Are you alright, Justin? You look a little unwell.
I'm a little dizzy.
I feel weird as well. It's as if I'm trapped inside an animal plushie. Really? I feel fine. Probably depends on the person. Maybe being a cat suits you.
With a name like Nico, it should suit you best of all people. Why are you called that anyway?
That's the store manager. I can't be bothered to explain it every single time someone asks. Anyway, it's time to think about our next stop, guys.
We need to find a way to return back to our own bodies.
Look on the bright side. At least we got some cat food out of it.
We sure did, and I'll be the first to admit that it tasted pretty damn great.
I mean, I guess.
To be fair, in elementary school, we had a school friend over who had 2 little sisters, and the smallest of them was a baby. So she was already like crawling along the floor. And I'm guessing our parents didn't really look out. And then they found her, like she came crawling back and like she had a bunch of food around her mouth, and they were wondering like, where would she have gotten food, like crawling around on the ground? Well, turns out the cat food was apparently very tasty. So this baby had crawled into the kitchen eating our cat food. I mean, it must have tasted well, right? A natural born hunter. Yeah, her mom was not that happy, but like it can't be that bad. Tried dry dog food as a teenager, it was okay. I've not tried cat or dog food. I don't have any experience with that. Seemed like super dark cereal. I never thought I'd say this, but I agree with Zach. Let's go back and find a way to change back into our old selves.
Return to where everything happened, huh? That could go wrong.
Maybe, but think about it from a reasonable point of view for a second.
We all passed out in the same place, and we woke up as cats in the exact same spot together. Doesn't that make you wonder where our real bodies are right now and what state they're in?
You took one for the team, yeah. We appreciate it. Don't you think they're still in the same spot?
Maybe, but think about it this way. You came in there one after the other and you never noticed the unconscious body of whoever went in before you. That means someone must have moved our bodies after we passed out. I doubt any of you would have gone ahead had you seen a body lying on the ground right in front of you. You're all smarter than that, except for one obvious candidate, of course.
Why are you all looking in my direction?
In other words, you're worried about our exit strategy.
Yes, although I realize it might be way too soon for that, it's better to be prepared than to be caught off guard when we're close to the finish line. I'm with you. So you're proposing that we return to the factory too?
Yes, that's where, as far as we know, all our problems started. Let's tackle this directly at the source. Good evening! Hi! We're cats right now. The truth is out there somewhere.
Justin mumbles incoherent cat gibberish. Justin is clearly trying to hide how nervous he really is, but his wagging tail gives it away. Nico stops looking at him and instead focuses on Zack and Cecile. Finally, she lowers her head and looks at her paws. Whatever is going on in the factory goes far beyond simple animal abduction. The 4 investigators turned cats are a prime example of that. Their predicament doesn't leave them any other choice but to move forward and chase the truth. I'm meowsing. Fuck yeah. So I'm very quiet around here lately, though I wouldn't start worrying about sales numbers declining just yet. Oh no! He's back! I think a more positive attitude may help improve that aspect somewhat already. I've always been of the opinion that the right state of mind can bring about change and solve many a problem. State of mind and positive attitude, that could prove to be rather problematic. After all, you are here. You always were a humorous type. Actually, it's not supposed to be a joke. This is the first day in ages with clear weather. Weather. Hatman, Catman. Instead of having my friends around me to celebrate that fact, they're nowhere to be found. There's no trace of them anywhere, and I'm stuck here speaking to a pretentious foreigner who always manages to get on my nerves. I take it you've been very busy lately? Frankly, I would have never expected you to know how to use a courier. It took me by surprise. I sincerely hope all the books have found their way into your hands undamaged and in pristine condition. The rough way these tactless barbarians handle packages makes me shiver at the mere thought of it. Those couriers know what they're doing, even now that the weather conditions have changed. It's not up to people like us to tell them how to do their job. But hey, the package was still completely wrapped when I got it. That means none of those tactless barbarians opened it up to take a peek. What are the odds? In a rare and unexpected gesture, he reacts to my sarcasm by shaking his head and shrugging. He wouldn't usually behave like that. If my time allows it, I still very much prefer my more direct approach, such as this. My current work assignments have been fulfilled, which means you may not have to do everything by yourself this time. That is something to be joyous about, wouldn't you say? Work. Did I hear that right? You certainly did. Make no mistake, my position is not as far above your own as you may believe. Maintaining the status quo requires great effort. Effort which I am, for personal reasons, happy to put in. What for? For my own safety? You have not forgotten about my goal, have you? I do not reply, reaching for an ancient-looking book instead. Last time I received a book from you, it attracted some unwanted attention. This place may not be as safe as you think it is, and if I'm really being watched, there would be no easy way for me to escape. I flip through the book in my hands without looking up. The city is a mess. Strange events keep piling up on top of each other. Can you really be sure that your old friends don't suspect this place? They do not, as far as I know. These events you mention accumulate, causing chaos and confusion among the citizens. Yet they've never upset the balance. I should be thankful to whoever is responsible for keeping them at bay, the unsung hero. It seems like there's a lingering hesitancy that has stopped more drastic measures from being employed. There's a perfect amount of chaos. Just which Hollywood movies do you get all your villainous quotes from? It is all quite simple. The city is experiencing shifts in its equilibrium, yet from the outside, all that can be seen is a raging storm. We don't just see it, we are right in the middle of it. Every other week there's some new unsettling story. The city's inhabitants are growing increasingly worried, and if this keeps up, they may all be scared away before we manage to clean up the mess. Who knows? There may be many people who prefer turning a blind eye and going through life oblivious. If you can keep those morbid pearls of unnecessary knowledge to yourself. Public sentiment is a difficult thing to grasp, and until the dust settles, no one knows what the people in power are really thinking. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with the higher ups. Who did you mean when you say unsung hero? Oh, would that not be you? Oh, right. I have hidden superpowers that enable me to bring those criminals to justice one by one, just by sitting around in this cramped space and looking through dust written in ancient books. To be more precise, those criminals are facing a kind of justice much more severe than the law. Whatever. None of that has anything to do with me. I was merely under the impression that conducting your own investigation might be the best way to go about it, especially given your unwavering curiosity. You make it sound easy. If anything, my statement emphasizes the fact that I have the utmost confidence in your abilities. Your politeness only makes me wonder even more how you're connected to the storm. Connected? There's indeed a connection, I won't dispute that, but I would very much like for that connection to be severed, preferably sooner rather than later. I share your sentiments. There may well be a connection between this series of events. However, I'm sorry to admit that even I cannot see it. He's always been a wordy and pretentious fellow, but today he seems to be beating around the bush even more than usual. That could either mean he's trying to hide something, or he really doesn't know anything. Either way, he appears to be in a good mood today. You're offering me an opportunity to go outside and do some poking around, so thanks for that. At first I thought you were only keeping me here for your own purposes, but I've discovered another reason. You probably couldn't sleep at night if there wasn't somebody like me looking after all your precious stuff. You need someone to keep an eye on it, right? After all, whatever you bring always attracts attention, mostly the unwanted kind. It is further acknowledgement of my trust in your skills and abilities. I would be careful spouting such grandiose phrases when you yourself have been involved with those people trying to steal your valuables. My apologies. Personal matters have never been my strong suit. That's obvious. Anything else? Actually, there is. I would like to retrieve the small bell that I left in your possession. I sincerely hope you remember the particular piece I'm referring to. Though I do place my trust in you, it still worries me to have it out of my sight. What a rare occasion. I can't say that I ever expected you to want something back. I was under the impression you were using me as a glorified vault to stash stuff and forget about it. It's only natural for a vault to be opened when the retrieval of an object is deemed appropriate. Do you mind telling me what's so special about that thing? I've taken a good look at it, but I couldn't find anything that stands out apart from the fact that it is incredibly light. I'm afraid that without specialized knowledge, it is impossible to discover the mystery of this treasure. The value of knowledge is infinite, you know that. Usually this would be the moment when you dump a dusty, thick old book or two on me and make me figure out every painstaking detail myself. Instead of answering our question, he puts away his briefcase and looks around the store. The store seems awfully quiet. The neighbors told me that up until recently, many young faces were to be spotted here on a regular basis. Now it's my turn to answer with silence. Thank you, what a young binary! Tell from the neighbors. That's the lousiest excuse I've ever heard.
Thank you for the pet.
No matter how well fed a wolf is, in the end it always longs to return back into the forest. I'm not the one causing the wind, so I damn sure won't be the one getting caught in the storm. Who can know that for sure? Are you sure you want to go down this road? Don't spit into the well if you intend to drink from it.
Blessed Machian today. Yeah, baby.
I did not mean anything by it, of course. It was a slip of the tongue, nothing more. I'm simply anxious. The burden of being immortal, I'm sure you understand. At this point, I can't expect to get any new information out of him. Anything more will just be empty phrases. I pick up the bell, which is still neatly wrapped and handed to him. If you have anything else to share, now would be the time to... There will be no need for that. Once the dust is settled, I have a feeling the two of us will have nothing but time. If at that point you're still in the mood to exchange stories, I would be enlightened to share them with you. Delighted. I would be enlightened? What the fuck? Delighted. Farewell. He leaves a lot quicker than he usually does, without any of his trademark theatrics. Hey, your briefcase? A wave of loneliness sweeps over Hermitage once again. I reach out to the only companion that has never left my side. It's empty. I toss the empty pack of cigarettes straight into the trash can. Aww. Books! New books! Woohoo! Okay, what's new here? That's new. Looking at the wall through your eyes, a collection of Chinese cartoons. The author seems to be a little childish. There are black kittens hidden in every corner. This particular cartoon tells the story of several kittens who decided to head out on a risky adventure together. Later on, they try to escape after ending up in captivity. Ultimately, the story has a happy end. The style in which it is drawn is very cute. The main characters are a domestic cat, a stray, a wild cat, and a purebred. I'm sorry, what? Hold on. I can't... Oh, that would... Hey, why doesn't the book stuff show up? Okay. They follow a legend that is circulating among cats and set out on a journey to a park in the center of the city, where they are captured one by animal control and thrown into a dark warehouse. In the warehouse, the 4 kittens and other cats that were caught begin to talk. Together they finally decipher the legend and find out what they were looking for in the first place. The cat elders end up teaching them how to enter the world of dreams. The kittens don't use this newly acquired knowledge to simply escape, even though they could. Instead, they enter the dreams of the man who caught them and use this opportunity to appeal to his conscience and humanity.
Thus the man has a change of heart and regrets his actions, leading to the cat's release from the warehouse.
Gee, I wonder if that one is going to have anything to do with our current predicament.
Metamorphosis, famous work by Kafka with gold lettering on the front. A famous novella by Kafka with the title printed in gold lettering. The publishing date is unknown, but the print quality is exceptional. I don't think many copies of this particular edition were made. You gotta head out. Okay, thank you for coming by. Have a good night. It's one of the world's most well-known tragic stories. A once-beloved family man named Gregor Samsa gets turned into an insectoid creature. His hideous new appearance and inability to support his family leads to him being shunned and hated, ultimately forcing him into a deep state of depression. Although this novel has already been translated some time ago, this particular translation is slightly different, sounding more stilted and occasionally containing faulty grammar. The book does not contain any information about the translator. The unknown translator of this particular version seems to have tried to make the overall appearance of the book resemble that of the original translation. Still, there are huge differences, both in print quality and lettering. At the end of the book, Gregor Samsa is struck by illness and eventually dies. The translator added a paragraph that differs from the original. His heavy body no longer caged his mind. Now, at long last, the poor soul was able to return to his original appearance, unburdened by physicality and able to face this world's hidden truths. Okay. No Name, another old book unsigned. Another old notebook unsigned. Its cover is heavy and colorful. There's a black scorch hole at the bottom, proving that it's been through a lot. The notebook that Justin found looks similar to the one Zach discovered. The notes in this one should be somewhat updated. Unlike the previous notes, however, it no longer encompasses a wide variety of research, but includes a detailed explanation and analysis of one ritual in particular. This ritual appears to be based on different fragments of information, and the entire notes are devoted to speculation about how to find the missing pieces to confirm the feasibility of the experiment. Due to the lack of information, the author copied parts of other rituals to fill in the blanks. Judging from the results of this restoration, the conditions under which this ritual is to be performed are very demanding. The final description states that the ritual must be performed at unnatural heights when dark clouds obscure the sky and the stars are aligned in a certain order. In addition, the author emphasizes that without any bait, the ceremony will lose the required energy and fail. The narrator mentions the word fear, but does not elaborate on the manner in which the bait needs to be provided. Okay, and what was this one about? The notebook is about doofing a stick with the letter surface covered in dirt. It looks like it's been in use for decades. The entire content is written in German. There are obvious traits. We read this one already. Okay, never mind. Sorry. We have read this one already. We have read all of these as well. Yeah. Cthulhu Mythos Volume 3. Yeah. Okay. No, we've done all of the other books already. Nice. Huge, abandoned derelict, a dormant relic and a silent witness of the past. But it's not merely a witness to what happened around it. It has its own story to tell. Nowadays it is desolate and nothing but a shell of its former self. This is what happens when you try to exceed your limits. Everything is about to take a sharp turn in an unexpected direction. Hey, this was way different than it was the last time I was here. The four cats have returned to the factory and entered its ominous darkness. The dimensions of the surroundings seem completely off. The building has changed. It's different from what it was like when they entered the premises last time. Small doors on the side, the ceiling tiles, the piles of trash, everything that was small and barely noticeable before is taking up much more space now. Well, that's because you have a way different look at it, no? Of course it's gonna be different. You're like a sixth of your site height. All of it looks gigantic. Looking at the world from a shrunken point of view is a common, cliché sci-fi trope. Still, for these four brave cats, it is something new altogether. In this case, however, fear far outweighs fascination. Never before have they felt so small and powerless. Things they never paid attention to back in a human form now looks imposing and scary. Fortunately for them, they are used to a lot more weirdness than the average person. Everyone doing okay? Nico turns her head towards Justin and the other two. Words are suddenly interrupted by a barking dog, and the cats instinctively jump up and scatter. They all hide as quickly as they can. Zack manages to get out of sight only at the very last second. Meowing and barking all jumbled up together. It is an unsettling and unnatural sound that they have never heard before. Loud footsteps accompany the sound before growing fainter and disappearing into the depths of the factory. It's not turning back now.
Ooh! Oh no! Okay. But so far the dog is not moving. What's this thing? The trap itself was quite blunt and not sharp enough to pierce through the skin, but the wires attached to both ends of the device suggest that it is not as harmless as it appears to be at first sight. Seems too big to be solely intended for animals. It's covered by rags. What are we, amateurs? Cecile shakes her ears and takes a look at the contraption. Well, I sure hope it's not going to suddenly run into me. Be careful, look at the railing ahead. I think we have a problem. Well? Yeah, it's already quite obvious. I can hear the sound of a transformer. Looks like the voltage is quite higher, right? No clue. Could be that someone plugged it into the power supply on purpose. Look closely, the wires are exposed. Jeez, you have really sharp eyes, you know? It looks like there's a lock or something in there. Hey, be careful. You'd be cat roast in an instant. We better not do anything rash before we find a way to turn off the power. Okay. I would like to read what it says here. There's a notice here too. Warning, access to this floor is strictly prohibited. All employees are requested to evacuate by May 25th at the latest. Trespassers will face severe punishments. Someone scrawled the words "run away" on the sign in red liquid. They're barely readable, so whoever wrote them must have been in a hurry. The words appear small and crooked, maybe so they wouldn't be discovered straight away. Who knows who this message was intended for? Maybe it was merely a cathartic act. A cathartic act! This thing. A fire alarm! An old-fashioned electric bell. The bell hammer is covered in a thick layer of dust, but the wiring seems to be intact. A cord is hanging down from one side, similar to the cord used to turn on a wall mount fan. A wall mount... what? Okay. Two cats might be able to reach it by sticking up against the wall. If it still works, it should make a lot of noise. Oh. Use it then. Okay. What's this one? Another notice is posted on the wall. It is crumpled and dirty, rendering it completely unreadable. Only the national security stamp is still vaguely visible on the paper. The notice looks pretty old. The paper is yellowed and brittle, surrounded by thick cobwebs and dust. Fresh food scraps, footprints in the dust. A variety of bite marks from different types of animals are mixed in between the human traces. Alright, let's see what happens if I approach the dog. 1, 2. Wait! What's the matter? Look over there. The fierce-looking dog is dozing right in front of the exit. Its breathing is shallow, indicating that it's on high alert even now. What should the cats do in this situation? The Negro tries seductive approach? What the fuck? Okay, different approach? We need to be smart. There's no way we can take him head on. You're right, we need to come up with something else. We could lure him to the electric fence. Do you have a death wish or something? No way any of us would survive that. I was just thinking out loud. Zach looks so cute as a cat. In my opinion, the part about luring it away is a good idea. So what do we do? I think I saw something that could work. Let's do this. Yeah! Use the fire alarm! That's what I've been saying! You're a lot heavier than you look. No, this breed of cat is probably just big bone. Nearly there. I'm doing it. Things don't go as planned. The factory equipment is in much worse shape than the feline investigation team ever anticipated. Not only does the fire alarm bell not ring, but it falls off as soon as Cecile's paw tugs at it. Oh shit. Uh-oh. Crap! Quick, find somewhere to hide! Cecile runs like the wind and quickly retreats into a dark corner. Zack follows and makes his large body appear as small as possible, tucking in his tail. Nico leaps and follows the others, hiding behind them. Justin crashes headfirst into the others hiding away in the same corner. The ferocious dog wanders around for a while, alert and suspicious. The cats all hold their breath, afraid that making even the slightest sound could seal their fate. Fortunately, it seems to pick up a new scent, something more interesting than the cats, and turns away. Looks like it's smelling something tastier than us. This is our chance. Wait, why are you attacking it? Why don't you just leave through the exit? You could have just left! In this particular case, Zach's larger than average size for a cat comes in handy. The dog clearly wasn't expecting an attack. Taken by surprise, it doesn't even have the time to turn around. If there's one thing the streets have taught me, it's to never let an opportunity like this pass you by. There's no way Zach could miss. Zach pounces on the dog's head from behind. Still entranced by the smell of food, is completely overwhelmed and rendered unable to resist for a moment. The dog is down. Raising his claws, Zach slices straight across the dog's eyes. Blood spurts from the wound and goes everywhere. Aww. Well, the poor dog can't bear the pain any longer and flees. It runs whimpering from the room, completely unaware of the other cats. I'm sorry, big fella. Once this is over, I'll come back and find you a good vet. You did it. That was a close one. Please, don't do something like that again. It was so scary. Fear not, I'm here. Alright, let's proceed to the next room before you get too caught up in your own heroics. Okay. Why is it all sealed up? This looks like it took a lot of work and effort. I don't think a normal person could have pulled something like this off. These railings seem out of place in this factory too. What's going on here? The wires look sloppy. No way that's how they're supposed to be. Yeah, it all looks pretty rough. The door over there is open. Shall we go and see what's there? Wait, what door? Oh. Oh, shit. What's up with this place? Isn't it supposed to be abandoned? And the walls are blocked off. It looks suspicious, doesn't it? For sure, it looks like someone's doing renovation work. Wanna go check it out? Guys, I don't think we'll have time for that. Oh, shit. Crap, run. Woo! Meow. They're chasing us already. Interesting sounds they're making, that's for sure. If it's not meow meow meow, it's Utterly exhausted, the four cats arrive in Scarlett's neighborhood. It would be a long and tiring journey even for a grown adult, let alone for four small cats who still feel like strangers in their new bodies. Out of breath, the four of them lay down on the green grass, listening to the faint sound of traffic in the distance. Jeez, I'm so tired. There's something seriously wrong with that place, isn't there? Definitely. That scream... Yeah, something's off. Thinking about the situation, Zach turned silent for a moment. The desire to return back to the old human bodies is growing stronger with every passing moment, for most of them. Controlled by instinct, Zach involuntarily starts playing with a long blade of grass, hitting it with his paws. He's fully aware of it all, but it's difficult to suppress the impulses coming from deep within him. Now that I think of it, nothing normal ever happens when all of us get together. I mean, the fact that nothing normal ever happens is the reason why we all got together in the first place, isn't it? Better to walk this path as a group than all alone. Yeah, you're right. Two of the group's otherwise most reliable members are obviously starting to lose their focus due to fatigue. Is it just me? The thought suddenly pops up in Zach's mind. He's been relying on others for far too long, both on their knowledge and their help. Always depending on others and having to wait for them to save the day isn't only stupid, but disrespectful towards his friends who have to do all the thinking. Thinking isn't his strong suit, sure, but what kind of lame excuse is that? He's been getting better at it, at least somewhat. Better at thinking for himself, better at making decisions. Whether those decisions are always the right ones remains to be seen, but at least he feels like he's been getting better at doing things outside of his comfort zone. I'm sick of this. Be quiet for a sec, will ya? Meow meow? Nick's eyes widen in surprise at Zach's words. Lost in thought, he doesn't pay any attention to it. These drastic times call for drastic measures. He bends his head in concentration, calling on every last one of his brain cells, to recall any useful memories or clues, a task made even more difficult by the fact that he is a cat. So many things like buried in that factory. Will he be able to uncover them all? Oh! Oh, okay. So we don't do this as the bookstore owner this time. That's fascinating. And the first one. Nice. By no means abandoned. Something spooky is going on in that factory. The traps are obviously designed to catch humans. The line of sight is higher up than that of a small animal, so they wouldn't notice what's beneath their feet, especially not in the dark. The voltage was high enough to knock out a bear. It's completely overkill when it comes to small animals, which just proves my point. It's strange. Many animals roam around the place, but traps like that don't just pop out of the ground. None of the animals were trapped either. You mean those traps were deliberately set up so they work only on humans? That would be a simple question of adjusting the force of the strings. I've seen hunters in my village back home do the same thing when catching wild boars. You need to adjust the weight in the springs, or else even small critters can trigger the traps, effectively wasting them. In this case, that makes us the wild boars. So you're saying the whole place is set up so animals don't get trapped, but people do? Yeah, that's what I think. Could just be a way to protect the factory from nosy outsiders. Those notices we found indicate a state-ordered evacuation. It's so weird. It's not like the place simply closed down because of bad management decisions or something along those lines. It must be something serious. There must be more secrets buried in there that we didn't find. Shall we keep exploring? Whatever it is we're looking for, it can't be anything normal, right? I'm basing that assumption off of the fact that we're cats and all. Yeah, that much is guaranteed. We can't just roam around in there without expecting to run into trouble. We're walking straight into the lion's den, but if there's any crew brave enough to pull this off successfully, it's us. You're right, Zach. But first, there's one other thing. Super important thing. Getting something to eat. I'm freaking starving. I second that, and looking at you makes me think dog food should do the trick. Are we still going to see Scarlet? All four of them shuddered simultaneously at the thought. Let's put that idea on hold for the day. We'll go to Hermitage to grab a bite. Good idea. Night has fallen and the city's urban soundscape remains as loud and obnoxious as ever. Diving headfirst into the bustling nightlife, the four heroic felines roam about in search of tonight's dinner. And now, dear viewers, tonight's news report. Hider time. Thank you. Tonight's news report. Drink.
Thank you for the pat and the posture check as well.
Oh, Jesus. You're awake, definitely. Aww. Get some rest if you're so tired. Get some rest. Rumors about a mysterious shadowy figure have been spreading rapidly across the city, causing panic among citizens. The police have recently started a formal investigation into the matter. The figure is reported to be about 2 meters tall. It moves around quickly, never staying at the scene long after appearing. It always leaves damage in its wake. As of yet, no casualties have been recorded, and there are no concrete eyewitness reports in regards to its appearance, as most sightings have been reported during nighttime. Experts say the figure's actions, behavioral patterns bear similarities to those of people suffering from mental illness. Yes. People suffering from the one mental illness. All behaved... Okay. Police advise everyone to remain calm should they encounter their suspect. Slowly remove yourself from the scene and alert the authorities. Stay calm to prevent panic and never try to intervene by yourself. Another mysterious shadow roaming the city, which has turned into a playground for all things bizarre and otherworldly by now. Tall and fast. Both of those fit the description, but there's no mention of a bright flash of light. Is this the same shadowy figure from Scarlet's case or not? Just as I start to think more about it, my phone starts vibrating. Oh? Are you planning to go to the Christmas parade this year? No, you're just taunting me. You know what my situation's like. Yes, I do. See you then. What's this about? Nothing really. I've just been feeling kind of down lately and it'd be nice to bring a date for a change. So I'm just a tool you use to regain control. Oh, come on, it's not like you've got anything better to do. Just throw me a bone, will you? I mean, sure, okay. Okay, think about it. I don't know if the kids have plans, maybe we can ask them. I doubt Cecila's going out, and I'm not sure what Nico. We'll see. Maybe we'll throw you a little party or something. You sound exactly like someone visiting a nursing home. Christmas parade. Why is it good and bad things always come in pairs? Maybe it can serve as an incentive to put in a little more effort and solve these current problems. Young man pushes female medical student down the stairs, claiming he only did it to hear. A female medical student was pushed down a long flight of stairs at Shenzhen University today. The fall caused bad bruises all over her body. A broken arm and one of her incisors broke off. The police disclosed that a young man named Jia Mo turned himself in and confessed that he did it just to hear her scream. In the night of August 20th, Shenzhen University student Li, pseudonym, called 911 to report that she had been pushed down the stairs by an unknown man who had fled the scene with great haste. The police rushed to meet Li at a dormitory near the engineering department where, upon arriving, they realized the full extent of her severe injuries. She was immediately rushed to the nearest hospital to receive treatment, and all available footage from nearby surveillance cameras in the area was evaluated at once. Li told police that around 11 p.m. while approaching the flight of stairs, she felt a strong push from behind. She couldn't think of anyone who could be holding a grudge against her and wasn't involved in any recent arguments. Due to the sudden nature of the attack, she could not see the attacker clearly, although she did note that they were wearing something red. After the attack, they ran off towards a nearby path. After the police investigated the scene, they went through dozens of hours of surveillance footage until they found something interesting. During the night of the attack, a young man wearing a red sports vest followed Li towards the stairs. The crime happened late at night and the suspect was dressed very casually. From this, the police deducted that the suspect couldn't be living too far away from the scene of the crime. Police also captured images of the suspect from the surveillance footage and went to the school and dormitory buildings around the incident site to recreate the scene. Since the footage itself was very blurry and taken under dimly lit conditions, most people on campus couldn't help identify the man. However, after 3 days of continuous visits to campus, a young man finally confirmed the man to be Jiao Mo, an 18-year-old student from Wuhan University, living in the Hanan district. Just when the police were ready to arrest the young man, Jiao Mo took the initiative and gave himself up. Jia said that he and Li had no prior history whatsoever and felt that the reason for his crime was to simply hear a girl scream. On the night of the crime, he was wandering around the area when he spotted Li approaching a flight of stairs and decided to follow her. By the time she was 4 or 5 steps down, he ran up and pushed her from behind, causing her to fall down and scream in fear while he made his escape. As of right now, Jia is in a juvenile detention center. What the fuck? There's so many sick perverts in this world. Who pushes someone down the stairs just to hear them scream? How do they live with themselves? Leona fetish? No thanks. I just like reverse Leona. Go, woman. That's a classic sociopath. Most Riona fetishists respect women in real life. They don't get pleasure from hurting women and long for loving relationships as much as any other person. Riona's not a hunt, it's the opposite, a longing and search for sexual arousal by receiving beatings, getting limbs broken, hurting internal organs, etc. Since Riona is actually tortured, it's strongly discouraged. I'm sorry, what? Leona? What's that supposed to be? Ugh. Ugh. Alright. Thank you, Google. That's a really big safety risk for everyone living in that area. Psychopathic, homicidal maniac. Society would be better off without him. I mean, if you want to hear someone scream, male or female, wouldn't sneaking up behind them and saying boo suffice? Honest question? Labeling it a fetish or hobby is an insult to the victim. It's a violent crime, that's all it is. You can't just break down the psyche of a violent criminal to 3 bullet points, dude. She should have filed a lawsuit right away. Being put into custody isn't a harsh enough punishment. We need to discourage creeps like that from ever thinking they can get away with sick stuff like that. Lock that maniac in a soundproof room and play screams on table until he gets what he did. Cthulhu Myth Volume 2 giveaway. The second volume has been widely discussed in obscure online forums. Looks like people in the city really like the story. I should read it in my spare time. We did! Well, we did the small thing that is like click on the book and get a small thing about what it's about, but The enthusiasm for Cthulhu material is well known, especially among the users here, and it's a frequent topic of discussion. In recent years, many of these works have been introduced to the Chinese market, one of the prime examples being the Stories collection that was published last year. It's a hot topic, and the rules for this post are simple. Just include one or more of these things in your reply. In your opinion, what makes the Cthulhu myth so interesting? Recommend one Cthulhu-themed publication that you particularly like, novel, game, movie, anime, etc. Take a look at your own collection of Cthulhu-related items and share them with us. Handicrafts, games, book, etc. 20, yes, you heard that right, 20 participants will be chosen randomly next Thursday. The winners will receive a copy of the newly released physical edition of Cthulhu Myth Volume 2. The editor himself browses the site too, and we thought him say a little something about the project below. Many people ask why it took so long. The reason is simple. We wanted to make sure the translation quality fulfilled our high standards. We've printed more copies compared to the first volume, and due to its immense success, we hope to release at least 2 more volumes with a much shorter gap between releases. Also, in the last post, one of you asked which stories are included. The answer is simple. Pretty much everything. Of course, we're eager to hear your feedback and recommendations for the next releases. This time, it includes 3 long stories and 1 slightly shorter one. At the Mountains of Madness, The Rats in the Walls, The Shadow over Innsmouth, The Shadow Out of Time. I spare the details of the individual stories. If you know, you know. If you don't allow yourself to be spoiled. That being said, I've always found it hard to describe objects in words because visuals and words can never be connected, similar to how someone can perfectly describe the tone of a song to you. You can't really form an opinion unless you've listened to it yourself. Lovecraft is able to pull off the impossible with his prose. It's shockingly unique. It's amazing how you can describe things that don't or shouldn't exist in such vivid detail. We've added some extras and illustrations this time to further show how much we appreciate his works. For more details, drop by to discuss everything with your peers right here, and don't forget to place your order soon. For the Cthulhu theme, I recommend Hayore Nyaruko-san. Are you fucking kidding me? I've seen that one actually, I think. Hayore Nyaruko-san. I've seen that one. Or at least I've seen like a few episodes of it. I never finished it. It wasn't my thing. What is it with this game? The charm of Cthulhu myth is of course the unknown horror of how small and powerless humans actually are in the grand scheme of things. Personally, I think it's a little too formulaic sometimes, but the creatures are awesome and it's very creative. While Miyazaki was working on Bloodborne, he was reading The Whisperer in Darkness, through which he learned about the Cthulhu myth. Is that allowed? Is what I'm asking myself. Is that allowed? Can you just name drop all of these things? Hello? Can one person get 2 copies or is it limited? To me, the greatest attraction of the Cthulhu myth is that in a world of pervasive and violent problem solving, yes, even in D&D games that's the essence, the fear for supremely omnipotent existence is extreme. It shows to what lengths we humans go to, although deep down we know how insignificant it all is in the eyes of a being of limitless power. There's a certain thrill and charm to reading words that make me feel this way. It's entertaining, horrifying, and thought-provoking all at the same time. It's sad how few games are based on it. I only know about Trail of Cthulhu and Call of Cthulhu. Haha, that's it, bye! But my post will probably be ignored anyway. Already got it pre-ordered the first chance I got. Too bad those cool posters that are included can't be purchased separately. I'd love to deck out my whole dorm and represent Cthulhu. A review of the physical release has already been published. Also, it seems as if the digital release has a fantastic translation this time. I hope I can snag a free copy, but if not, I'll go buy it myself. It'll totally be worth it. That is not that which can eternal lie, and with strange eons even death may die. It's really awesome that the stories always boil down to realizing the insignificance of oneself. All the pain and sadness reality brings becomes insignificant for a short moment. I recommend the game Human Cthulhu's Scary Legend. It's all based on real-world mythology. The narrative is just more obscure so not everyone gets it. Reality and fiction seamlessly blur into one another. It's often described as dull, but that's because he wants you to discover the truth that lies beneath. To discover the truth and eventually become enlightened, I recommend these visual novels. Yukuri Yomu and Cthulhu. That's a Toho game. That has to be a Toho game. Cthulhu for 2, Sakazaki's Strange Event Book, Epic K for the uninitiated. The last one also sounds familiar, but the first one has to be a Toho fan game. It has to be. And even if it doesn't exist, I always felt that the infinite tentacles represent an embodiment of people's endless imagination. I highly recommend the game Sunless Sea. The atmosphere is amazing. The environmental storytelling is some of the best ever, and now there's a localized Chinese version. Also, I urge everyone to check out the story The Rats in the Walls. There's a sequel to Sunless Sea called Sunless Skies, which is just as good. I recommend these novels, Sherlock Holmes and the Shadowell Shadows, and Neil Gaiman's I, Cthulhu. I've always been a fan. It's like when you play a good horror game, you die just before you get a good glance at the monster rushing you. It's a surge of adrenaline, and the fear of the unknown plays a huge role in making it an unforgettable journey. My favorites are Shadow Out of Time and At the Mountains of Madness. The ominous descriptions of the old gods and the uncertainty of it all is really chilling. I don't read a lot of Cthulhu stuff, but there are some short stories by Sheena Mieville that I thought were really well written. There's an original one about archaeologists that find out that there are a bunch of creatures walking among us in our daily life, but the brain just refuses to acknowledge them, and nobody can remember the creatures' names. Celeste is really scary to play on your own, probably better to watch a Let's Play instead. Come to think of it, I don't think it actually has anything to do with the Cthulhu myth. Sounds good, I put it on my list. I wait for you to play, let me know what you think of it. Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I do not know that much about Cthulhu. And frankly, I do not care to find out either. So God fucking knows, but at least the people here seem to have fun, right? People here seem to be having fun with it, so I don't know. Okay, let's do one more day. Well, maybe not one more day, but whatever the next thingy is. The next thing is the cats again. Okay, let's do what the cats are doing. Okay, we're going in, everyone. Ready? Teeth, check. Claws, check. We're good to go. Dude, seriously? I am. Come on, we're cats for crying out loud. There's not really all that much we can do to repair. Oh. Stop already. Keep your voice down. Zip it, you dummy. I'm just trying to liven things up a little over here. Yeah! I can't understand the thing, Cecile. Put that thing down first. I remember the store manager saying that you and Justin both know how to pick locks, so I thought this might come in handy. Huh, a wire. Smart thinking, Cecile, but we'll only be able to make use of that if Nico and I learn how to use it with our mouths. That could prove difficult. Well, our ears definitely work better than before, and that should help. Sounds like being a cat does have its advantages from time to time. We won't know until we try. Let's not waste any more time today. You're right. Okay, we get to do it again. It's good not to have a dog breathing down our necks for once. Damn right, that was a close call yesterday. Are you okay? You look like you've been through the ringer. Yeah, I'm fine. Trust me. That deep cat sleep works wonders on me. Fixes me right up. A heavy price to pay for some good sleep. As a human, your life wouldn't have been in danger yesterday, right? I mean, arguably, a wild stray dog that is aggressive could also be dangerous to a human. But, alright. Let's not dwell on things we can't control. Everything's the same as yesterday around here. Let's check out the back room. Okay. There's still electricity here. With protective measures like that in place, there has to be something important inside, don't you think? That's assuming that there are actually people here trying to protect something, and I think that is the case. Just find a way to blow it off. Jumping over that is child's play for me. Let's hope so. Damn, does he live here or what? Possibly. Just look at him. He's obviously a guard dog. I don't think he's caught on to us. He's not looking this way. Should we try going around him? Let's sneak inside. There's no other way because of that fence. Did you see the combination lock on the side? That caught my attention. What's the matter? This is a TV factory. Or was at least. What could possibly be here that justifies such tight security? What if it's some kind of vault or something? Who would put a vault inside of a factory? Good point. Just makes things even more interesting. Let's see if we can find a way around. Because of the considerable distance, the dog doesn't register the nimble footsteps. Cecile tiptoes on her paws step by step. Nico moves even more elegantly than her. Justin is leading the group while Zack does his best to keep his long hair from making him sneeze. Zack's effort pays off. The dog is fast asleep. The cats shimmy along the wall, carefully making sure the paws absorb the sound of every step. They manage to make it to the room. Check out how thick these walls are. That's not normal for a place like this.
We won't know more until we go inside. Let's move.
I mean, where are they going?
Hey guys, take a look. What's that? Looks like a distribution box?
How it's still working properly is beyond me. Do you think we can turn off the power on those fences from here?
Can't say for sure that they're on the same grid, but I'd say it's pretty likely.
Right, but how do we get to it?
I have an idea. Or have you already forgotten what Cecile brought along? Don't tell me you're really going to try and pick a lock with these paws. Why not? I've gotten pretty used to them already. They feel comfy.
Doing your name justice again, I see.
I'm not even kidding. Don't you guys feel the same way?
Wonder if there was any research being done on cats doing things to better describe it? Oh, that's a good question. Maybe whoever wrote the script just has a bunch of cats at home.
Feels like I was made to adapt to different bodies. It feels natural to me already. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't say I can relate to that all that much. Forget it, let's focus. Hey, big guy, help me out, will ya?
Okay. A regular cat could never pull this off. Good thing Nico is far from regular, and loot picking, no matter her current form, has long become second nature to her. Standing up and balancing on Zack's shoulders, Nico fiddles with the lock, skillfully moving the wires around. It takes a while, but then the long-awaited click sound the four cats have been anxiously waiting for can be heard.
The switch looks ancient as well. Want me to pull it?
Pull it, we have to try.
Okay, watch my back.
Nico hangs onto the switch and pulls it down with her weight. Look, I was right.
It's so dark. Let's go back and check on things before anyone catches on to us.
Fence is powered off. Thank goodness, finally some good news.
That locker seems suspicious. I wonder if there's something in it that could come in handy. Maybe a code or something.
That would be a major coincidence.
It's worth a try. Luck is on our side right now.
Okay. So... climb over? Can get past it now. Okay, get off that thing. Then I would like to read what it says on that note up there first. Notice on the search and capture of escaped laboratory animal. One of our most valuable experimental animals has been lost in transit. It is close to the size of a large dog, with white hair on its body and black hair in the head region. Due to an attack by an unknown assailant on the escort during transport, the animal is now loose and may still be lurking somewhere in the factory. This animal is in an extremely abnormal mental state and does not possess the instinctive logic of a common animal. Do not attempt to calm it down or chase it away. If you see any trace of this animal in the factory, report it to the Security Bureau immediately. If you come into direct contact, remain calm and move slowly to avoid irritating the animal. This will help minimize the potential danger to yourself. In addition, this animal is part of an expansive breeding experiment, and its physical development is affected by the procedures applied during this project. Therefore, it is possible that a variety of physical characteristics, including primate and human facial features, as well as limb structures, may be present as mutations. Do not be alarmed if the animal shows signs of human behavior or makes sounds resembling human speech patterns. This is a normal part of the experiment. The animal does not possess a personality, and no humans will be involved in this project until the next phase. Spreading rumors to the contrary is a punishable offense and will be dealt with swiftly. At the bottom of the note is something handwritten and scribbled in red. The experimental animal has been recaptured. What the fuck? Okay, what's this thing? Notice on discipline and political awareness of the personnel involved in the comprehensive cleanup project. Recently, Security Bureau personnel discovered a secret tunnel in the side wall of the electrical room. Upon further investigation, it appeared the offender managed to widen the ventilation duct outside the data room in the classified area with a handheld tool in an attempt to escape. The offender was captured by a patrol outside the factory and handed over to our Secret Service for questioning. The damaged ventilation duct has been repaired. We can't rule out the possibility that there are more spies hiding among us. Hee hee. Be disciplined and remain vigilant. Keep an eye out for any signs of suspicious behavior. To reiterate the importance of this project, the subject of the investigation, our contacts, have access to the classified area and are in possession of important advanced technology. We are still in negotiations. We are responsible for providing a secure and conducive environment for the negotiation, and for meeting all the requirements to facilitate the smooth conduct of the negotiation. Conducive? If the negotiations are successful, these technologies will greatly enhance our scientific knowledge, far surpassing everything we have so far. It will help us resist against the oppressive intentions of the world's greatest powers. Millions of people stand to benefit from it. The dream of the great motherland will be realized by our own hands. You will be rewarded for your efforts, so you must persevere. We have a lot of work to do. Though the pressure is high, stand tall and keep working to see us all master this final hurdle. A secret passage? What is this place? A factory or a prison? Classified area has to be behind the code-protected door, right? There's a code-protected door? Yeah, that's most likely where it is. Ventilation duct, huh? Well then let's check it out. Check it out, there's an air vent right here. Huh, I didn't even notice that before. But didn't I notice they discovered and fixed it? Fixed for humans is what they meant. You can't just plug the whole thing. That kinda goes against the purpose of a vent. That means there should still be enough space for something small, such as a cat, to squeeze through. Let me try. Pushing with his hat and pulling with his claws, that gives it its all. Well, what now? Wanna head inside? Based on a notice, there should be a so-called data room across from here. Maybe we can find what we're looking for there. Let's go. If this works out, we can head straight into the classified area, bypassing the door altogether. Oh boy, that duct is pretty tight even for a cat. This room is a bust. It looks empty. I thought there'd be something useful here. Maybe it's been evacuated. It doesn't look like it's still functioning properly. Look over there, that pile. Maybe there's something in those documents. You guys wait here, I'll go get it. Wait! Oh, shit. It is a human being, but still, the behavior on display is anything but human. A man is guarding the small room. His expression is dull and empty, his tired eyes dilated, his salivating mouth has sticky threads hanging from it. Tattered clothes that don't quite fit cover his body. His hair is dry and disheveled. He's mumbling something inaudible to himself. Sniffing the ground as if to pick up a trail, he sneezes from the dust he inhales. He shakes his head in an irritated way and rubs his nose with his palm. Snot is running from his nose, but instead of reacting to it, he just lets the liquid run across his lips. It is hard to describe in words just how strange the whole scenario is. The 4 cats are hidden away in the dark, and all of them gulp at nearly the same time. This is a huge problem. What the hell is that? Shh, keep your voice down. The guard's empty eyes wander around the room. He makes sounds, but they don't resemble any words. Maybe he feels like something's off. That would explain why he's staying in place for so long, refusing to leave. Luckily, his tired, sluggish body prevents him from investigating the situation further. He lets out a big, annoyed scream. Most likely infuriated at his own inability to act, he vents his frustration by shouting, like a child whose favorite toy has been taken away. But that doesn't help his cause, and he doesn't find anything. His senses are far too dull to notice the 4 nimble cats hiding in the vent. His patience exhausted, he clumsily turns around. Whoa, what the? Don't move just yet. Wait a little longer. He's still out there. The guard has not left yet, far from it. He hides behind the door like a wild predator ready to pounce on his unsuspecting and careless prey. Luckily for the cats, they can spot a shadow peeking out from underneath the doorway. Otherwise they would have run right into his arms. Making another frustrated sound, the man leaves. This time for real. That was a really close call. Just how cunning is that guy? Don't know if I'd call it cunning. It's more like he was following a primal instinct. It's like he's more animal than man. No one dares to respond to Cecile's statement. At least there's something here that could be useful. This is a matter of life and death now. Let's take a careful look around. We can't leave yet. Sure. You know, let me just in case. In between. What the fuck is this? That's... Just to notice is a tattered circus poster in a corner of the room. As it turns out, it is very hard to straighten out and flatten a crumpled poster with just two paws. Using his mouth, he gently tears at the poster to make it lie flat on the ground. Something has been handwritten on the back of it. If you find this, please... A lot of scratch marks. Must. A lot of scratch marks. We are in a lot of scratch marks. It's over. It is all over. It is out. It still has our box. We hope he knocked unconscious. Holes in the paper. It has a key. How did it get its hands on a key? A lot of scratch marks. It locked the door. We're trapped. There's nothing to eat. It only ever brings us a tiny amount of food when we are close to starving. It knows hunger. We starved it. Now it's doing the same to us. There's a purpose to what it's doing. What does it want? It has left. Hole in the paper. Gone. Hole in the paper. It's gone away. Hole in the paper. Starving. Come on, please. That's all I can make out. Justin puts the poster back in place and returns to the others. Okay. What's this then? Take the passcode notebook. Check it out, there's something written on here. Contact report number 1.3.4. Underground sweep and cleanup mission successful. Power grid repaired. Leftover equipment dismantled. Factory products have been kept in place as requested. Taking of samples requested to analyze differences in a batch and certain potential special attributes. Contact report number 1.3.6. No more responses to our requests received. They have sealed themselves off in room A indefinitely. Nothing unusual determined upon analyzation of the factory's products. Power consumption has increased dramatically. Further allocation of power resources requested. Contact report number 1.4.4. Room 8 reopened. We were granted permission to bring further test animals of the negotiations. Taking the room back is impossible as they have set up strange tools as a defense mechanism. Requested a variety of animals to observe the results of the selection process. Contact report number 1.6.0. Mammal experiment successful. Target transferred to the Institute for further analysis. Level of secrecy and security to be raised. Request further volunteers as hostility and paranoia decrease. Contact report number 1.6.2. Volunteer experiment successful. Target transferred to the Institute for further analysis. Requesting additional volunteers. This is a glorious opportunity for the motherland to make hundreds of years of progress. Contact report number 1.6.6. They have explicitly asked for my participation in the experiment. View appendix 1 for further details. Security code changed to 4368. 4368. In red. That has to be important. Look forward to bringing all of you goodness. Looks like there's a lot more. There's another one here, I think. Doesn't matter, we can't go by I think right now. Let's not waste time. We can't take it with us anyway. We finally got the code, but how will we get up there? Just step on me, I'll be the ladder. I don't think that'll be enough. If you say so. Want me to tag along then too? I can hop on. Hey now, somebody's gonna break something. I have a bad feeling it'll be me. What do you think we are, acrobats? No, you're acrocats. More like acrocats. Just treat it like a circus performance. I'm sure you'll be fine. I'll keep an eye out on what you're back. Red means danger, so you won't need that. Why? Just why did I have to end up as the big cat? You should be glad. If you were smaller, I would have had to tag along too. You wouldn't want me stepping all over you now, would you? It's only a small comfort, if any. Okay. So, do we go back? Where do you want to go? Do we go out here? The door's locked. Do we just go back? Is that what you want me to do? The dog is still there. Oh, thank you for the posture check. Got a problem then. There's no way to get to the code-protected door unless we distract him somehow. Getting past won't do the trick. We would need to flip the circuit breaker switch again to be able to enter the code. I'll see what I can do. Maybe if I make some noise we can. Bad idea, really bad. The risk you attract that creepy guy from before is way too high. But if he's the only one, he should be... Who says it's just him? You can't possibly know. Does that mean we have to leave? I don't see any other way at the moment. But we can't just give up. Is there any other way you could find out more about this place, Nico? We're stuck, that's what I was trying to say. Usually it would be child's play for me. But the thing is, I'm starting to think there's not a lot I can do while stuck in his body. Why? This is unfair. It's so easy, even someone like Zack could pull it off, and that's saying a lot. Why don't cats have fingers, damn it? Did you just imply that having fingers is all I'm good for? Alright guys, enough. Let's try figuring this out together. Also, I can't help but feel like there's someone watching us from afar. It's creepy. First things first, let's get out of here. Looks like we won't find out what's really going on until the next time we come back. Okay. Well, I did say I would finish up the cat section though. So that's where we're gonna stop. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. Wrong save. I want to overwrite this save here. So I have somewhere to go back to when I want to get the bad ending. I have to actually do that sometime soon. Getting the bad endings for all of the other chapters before we reach chapter 5 on stream. Because I'm assuming that the bad endings in this game are going to be a little longer, considering everything else is relatively long. I mean, I could be wrong here, but anyway, that is going to be it for tonight. That is going to be it for tonight. We're almost on time. Yum. Let me think real quick. Next week is going to be Hermitage on Wednesday, and I think Sunday as usual. Half an hour of explanations why you died right now. Kinda. That's what I'm expecting. It's I'm going to be doing the bad endings so I can tell you guys about them afterwards. But like, I really only want like the good endings and stuff here. Next week, Wednesday, Sunday is going to be this game. I'm thinking Sunday is just going to be a normal day, but Friday I'm not sure if I can stream because I'm at a wedding during the day, so I have no clue when I will be home. So highly likely that I won't be able to stream. And Saturday is going to be just straight up Splatoon all the way. I don't know when exactly we'll start. When I get my fingers on Splatoon, we'll start that kind of thing. Is going to be the Saturday. I'll still post a schedule for it though. It's just schedule's just gonna say like Splatoon, maybe, hopefully. But yeah, we're kind of already like around the middle of chapter 4, what it seems like here. So hopefully we get this done on Wednesday, maybe. And then Splatoon, and then I'll still have to think about what to do afterwards. I'm taking recommendations, by the way. Once again, if you have any game you're like, hey, I'm thinking that could be good for a Saturday stream, shoot them. Shoot me a message and be like, hey, no, play this game, and then I can be like, oh, okay, I'll think about it. Nah, but thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Let me turn on the song. Oh my god, it's so quiet, I can't hear it. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for the stream. No, thank you. I'll see you all next week. It is Sunday, which means it's time to go say hello to our favorite pink cat after we've been hanging around with a bunch of cats today. Did you know I really love you? You're so amazing. No, you, Lena. Thank you so much for the nice message. Have a good night, everyone. I'll see you all soon. Good night. And bye-bye.